have in an emergency. First of all, he would write out a nice dream on a piece of paper, then put it under his pillow, close his eyes, and pretend he was dreaming.
It's the Spartans of San Jose State against the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara. Hello, everybody. This is Mike Alden, and welcome to the campus of the Center here in Santa Barbara, the place they like to refer to as the Thunderdome. They do make a lot of noise, and it certainly will be thunderous tonight for this game involving San Jose State and UC Santa Barbara. My partner on the telecast tonight is the former head coach at the University of Kansas, Ted Owens. And Ted, something's got to give here tonight because Santa Barbara has lost 3 in a row, and San Jose State 10 straight games.
Well, you know, 2 weeks ago, we covered a couple of struggling teams in Pacific and in Fullerton, and we had a great ball game, an overtime ball game. I look for 2 hungry teams to really battle it out tonight.
Well, I know that Santa Barbara is hungry because the last time out, the Gauchos lost 77-61 to UNLV in Las Vegas Monday night. And yet Santa Barbara has an excellent overall record, 15-4. They are 6-4 in the conference, but 15-4 overall. And Santa Barbara has as many wins as anybody else in the league. And the key players for Santa Barbara, 6'4" Carrick DeHart and 6'6" Eric MacArthur, both of them juniors.
Carrick DeHart is an outstanding outside shooter, but in the last 8 ball games, he's only shot at about 41%. Eric MacArthur has been one of their outstanding performers, a great rebounder, but he has not scored well lately.
That's right. MacArthur has been struggling. In the last 3 games, MacArthur has scored only in single digits, and Santa Barbara lost all 3. So when MacArthur gets into double digits, Santa Barbara generally wins. As everybody knows, this has been a most difficult season for San Jose State. The Spartans are on last place, 1-11, a 5-16 overall record. They've lost 10 in a row. 10 players left the team early in January, charging coach Bill Berry with verbal abuse and mental cruelty. So the Spartans have had to rely on walk-ons, players from the football team, a trackman, plus the few who decided to stay to field the basketball team.
Well, it's a very difficult task. Most of us have from October the 15th to the 1st of December to get our teams together. Bill Berry and his staff have had to take over a situation where they've only had 2 or 3 days to work together, and I think they've done a remarkable job to make them competitive.
It is a fact that San Jose State does have a few players who can play this game. 6'9", Craig McPherson is one. He is a transfer from Santa Clara. And then there's 6'3", Johnny Johnson, a great running back who scored 19 touchdowns this fall.
Oh, he's a terrific athlete, and he was an outstanding basketball player at Santa Cruz High School. He's truly a great athlete.
You know, since this boycott, the new San Jose State team has led in every game they have played. So we'll see what happens here tonight as San Jose State comes to Santa Barbara to play the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos in a Big West Conference game. Lineups coming up.
I'll get it, Alex.
Mel's Market. Here's your order.
What order?
Side of beef.
I didn't order.
Here's your delivery, sir.
What delivery?
Your Stroh's 30 packs.
Stroh's. Alex?
Nah.
Stroh's and Stroh Light. Fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste. And with 30 packs, you get more beer.
Pardon? Beer Sped Shop. Here's your poodle. Oh.
1,000 capacity, the 4th straight sellout here at the Campus Event Center. It's time now to meet the starting lineups of these 2 teams. Now let's go to the public address announcer, Jim McNamara.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thunderdome for today's Big West prime ticket game between the Spartans of San Jose State University and your UCSB running Gauchos. Here now, the starting lineups for San Jose State. At forward, a 6'3" sophomore from Santa Cruz, number 42, Johnny Johnson. At forward for UCSB, a 6'5" freshman from Santa Barbara, number 23, Paul Johnson. For the Spartans, at forward, a 6'9" senior from Sunnyvale, number 43, Craig McPherson. For the Gauchos at forward, a 6'7" junior from Folsom, number 25, Mike Doyle. At center for San Jose, a 6'7" junior from Cupertino, number 40, Mike Puzar. At forward for the Gauchos, a 6'6" junior from South Pasadena, number 55, Eric MacArthur. At guard for the Spartans, a 6'1" junior from Mission Viejo, number 21, Tom Deciano. At guard for the Gauchos, a 6-foot senior from Los Angeles, number 12, Carlton Davenport. At guard for San Jose, a 6'4" junior from West Covina, number 30, Dwayne Daniels. And at guard for UCSB, a 6'4" junior from Los Angeles, number 15, Carrick DeHart. The 10th year head coach of the San Jose State Spartans, Bill Berry. And in his 6th year as head coach of the UCSB Runnin' Gauchos, Jerry Pym.
This place has been good for UC Santa Barbara, the Campus Event Center. The Gauchos have won 12 straight here in Santa Barbara. They haven't lost here in over a year. In fact, the last loss was January the 30th in '88 to Long Beach State. There's the referee, Booker Turner, out of Los Angeles, one of the top officials not only on the West Coast but in the United States. He has worked 5 NCAA Final Four games. And of course, the key for Santa Barbara, the scoring or the lack of scoring of Eric MacArthur, and the key for San Jose State is just to try to hang in there and maybe something good will happen.
You bet. They've played in all of the games that they've played together with this new group. They've been ahead late in the first half in all of those ball games.
It's rare for Santa Barbara, since Jerry Pym has been here, to lose 3 in a row, and they haven't done that in 4 years. But all 3 have been on the road, and as Jerry Pym said, it's great to be back here at the Campus Event Center in front of our home crowd. He said that's really the 6th man for us. They get us all pumped up, and we're looking forward to a good rest of February and a good March. Of course, with the Big West Tournament coming up down at the Long Beach Arena March 8th through the 11th. Eric MacArthur will jump center for Santa Barbara, and McPherson, a skinny 6'9", will jump for San Jose State. And it's chased down by Desiano, Tom Desiano. We're going to give you the names of the San Jose State players a lot because they're not familiar to a lot of people. This is Desiano, and the foul right away is called against Carlton Davenport, who got banged along the side of the head and in the eye, and they whistled Davenport for the foul. He came out of it the second best, didn't he?
All the way around, Mike. Santa Barbara's in their man-for-man defense as they normally play.
Dwayne Daniels went inbound for San Jose State, and right away it's almost a steal by Davenport. By the way, as you look at number 12, Davenport, he needs just 1 assist to tie and 2 to break the all-time UC Santa Barbara assist record, currently held by Connor Henry. Into McPherson. McPherson to the right of the lane. Back out to Desiano.
Well, even though this is a new basketball team put together, their guards have been with Coach Berry and his staff throughout the year, and they've performed very well.
Dwayne Daniels, traveling on Daniels. They say that the guard play of Daniels, Dwayne Daniels, and Tom Desiano is equal to the guard play of the original players for San Jose State in the month of November, December. And McPherson can handle his own in the middle. He's a good middleman. That missed shot by Davenport, grabbed off by the Gauchos again.
Davenport doesn't take many three-point shots.
There's Doyle with a looping one-hander. Follow up MacArthur, no! And it's grabbed off now by Jimmy Johnson, battling for it along with Paul Johnson, and Johnson touched it last. San Jose State will bring it up. Yeah, I'll bet you this is a tough game for Jerry Pym and the Gauchos. They have to take San Jose State seriously, yet they know that they have lost 10 in a row, and it's a game that Santa Barbara has to win.
He absolutely has to win, and that's the toughest pressure game that a coach ever faces.
Johnny Johnson on the drive. Johnson is fouled, and Johnson will go to the free throw line. Booker Turner is the referee tonight, and the umpires, David Hall and Rich Colin.
Johnny Johnson on a good step through, takes it to the basket, and when he's challenged, he shows the ball and takes it up.
Johnny Johnson on the line.
He was looking for foul all the way.
Foul is on Eric MacArthur. Johnny Johnson, he's averaging better than 8 points a game. And if you wonder about his football ability, that's well documented. 19 touchdowns this fall, but he was also All-State in basketball as well in high school.
He's one of the finest athletes to come out of Northern California in years.
Carrick DeHart can't get in there and works it over to Doyle. Doyle, Johnson, Davenport.
Well, Santa Barbara's had a fine record this year, but they have to have all parts working together.
Ball is knocked away from Johnson. Loose ball. It'll be a jump ball. Alternate possession, and it'll be out of bounds to Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara hasn't dominated people, even though they're 15-4. They're only averaging 6 points a game more than their opponents.
A 1-0 lead by San Jose State, and we've played a minute and a half. Santa Barbara really not into this game as yet.
No.
Carrick DeHart working along with Johnson.
It shoots your confidence a little bit. I don't care what kind of records you have. You lose 3 in a row. You have to do some things to rebuild and rekindle.
Knocked away by McPherson, off to Desiano. Desiano into Puzar, who couldn't get it. Ordinarily now, a player that's been with the team 4 or 5 months would make that shot.
Yes, it was a very fine play by the guard.
1-0 is the score. San Jose State, and it's a miss there by Johnson, but a tip in by Eric MacArthur. Eric MacArthur, 2-1 Santa Barbara.
He's the league leader in rebounding. He leads the Big West. You can certainly get an indication of how good he is, how effective.
Johnson quickly down, slapped away by Doyle. Just to pick up on that note you had about Eric MacArthur, he is averaging just under 10 rebounds a game, #1 in the Big West Conference rebounding. Also, #1 in blocked shots, 49 block shots for Eric MacArthur. It'll be out of bounds to Santa Barbara.
Good pressure defense. Santa Barbara always plays an active and aggressive man-for-man defense, but it seems that they really want to test the San Jose State ball handling.
We've played 2.5 minutes. Only 3 points have been scored. 2-1 UCSB.
Santa Barbara's not a great outside shooting team. Carrick DeHart is obviously a very good outside shooter, but he's in a slump, and so they're dropping in zone to test that shooting ability outside.
Davenport on the bank. Rebound McPherson for San Jose State to Tom Desiano. Desiano was picked up by Davenport. Dwayne Daniels working against Johnson. Daniels feeds out over to the side. The shot by McPherson is partially blocked by MacArthur. Here comes Davenport. Bounce pass over to DeHart. Yeah!
Super pass by Davenport.
Carrick DeHart rolling it in. 4-1 UC Santa Barbara.
That may get Santa Barbara loosened up and playing. Sometimes one play will do it.
Dwayne Daniels out to Desiano, who lets fly for 3. Doesn't get it. Puzar battling for the ball. The battle won by Mike Doyle of Santa Barbara to Davenport right at the free throw line. Doyle will fly a 3-pointer. Got it! Mike Doyle!
Mike Doyle's a great television player. Every time we've been here, he's had a terrific ball game.
That assist by Carlton Davenport establishes a new UCSB career record for assists.
Here goes Johnson along the baseline, and he is fouled. David Hall making the call, one of the 3 officials. That assist by Davenport and the bounce pass by DeHart, who rolled it in, was his second already of the game, and as a result, that is a new all-time assist record in the basketball annals of UC Santa Barbara. The old record held by Connor Henry, who was in the NBA for a while.
Yeah, terrific basketball player, Connor Henry.
Great outside shooter. By the way, they tell me that Brian Shaw is here from the Boston Celtics.
Yes, they have a little break at All-Star time.
Here's Davenport, runs into Desiano, and a blocking foul call against Desiano. And Bill Berry can't agree with the call as he's up off of the San Jose State bench. I talked with some people that have been with San Jose State all season long, and they say that but Barry is coaching the pants off of this team, meaning he's coaching them like that they were battling for not only the top honors in the Big West Conference, but national honors as well. There is a timeout here in Santa Barbara, and Santa Barbara already with a 6-point margin over the Spartans of San Jose State.
Hi, I'm Billy Packer with a great new weekly show that focuses on the world of college basketball. Features, analysis, and game previews are just part of Billy Packer's college basketball. Watch us right here on Prime Ticket.
Prime Ticket gets set to offer up a sweetheart of a month of great sports thrills in February. Wayne Gretzky and Bernie Nichols lead the Kings into 8 important late-season battles with the likes of the Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers and the very tough New York Rangers. 23 men's and women's heart-stopping college basketball games will sweeten up February as well. And you'll thrill to the Pac-10 Women's Swimming Championships. It's sports television at its best. Prime Ticket in February.
When the marshal calls the racers, you'll be set for the day's racing highlights from beautiful Santa Anita.
This Big West Conference game is brought to you by Great Western's family of companies with over $32 billion in assets. 100 years strong. We'll always be there. And by Stroh's and Stroh's Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. Basketball is spoken here at the Campus Event Center. They love their gauchos. 12 straight home court victories for UCSB. And the Gauchos have a 7-1 lead, but there is a travel call on Paul Johnson.
John Kozak just came in the ball game, has the ball now.
Kozak is number 23 for San Jose State. An interesting story about Kozak. We'll tell you about it in just a few moments. Desiano can't get the bank shot, and it's over the end line. Touched last by Eric MacArthur and Johnson. Both of them had a piece of the ball. Out of bounds to San Jose State. Watch number 23 for the Spartans, John Kozak. K-O-J-A-K. Kojak. 6'6" and a junior. He couldn't play at UC Irvine Thursday night because he had a job at the Red Lion Inn. He's a bellman. He couldn't get off from work. Shot is blocked by MacArthur. Kojak probably said to himself, it wasn't that way in intramural ball. But it is on Division 1A level right here in Santa Barbara.
No, there aren't many Eric MacArthurs playing intramural basketball.
Look at that shooting. San Jose State yet to make a basket in 6 attempts. Santa Barbara not shooting very well either, only 38%.
No, but they're playing awfully good defense. They're really alive on defense.
Dave Walton of Phoenix handling our stats tonight. This is Daniels working hard for his shot. Off to Kojak. Kojak says, what am I going to do with it? Off to Johnson. Back out to Dwayne Daniels. He knows what to do with it. Off to the right side. Kojak comes up with it. Back over to Daniels. To Desiano. Kojak swings it to Johnson. From Desiano. And along the lane, puts up the pass underneath to Kojak, and Kojak scores for Santa Barbara. So the Spartans went over 5 minutes without getting a basket. Finally, Kojak got it.
That was Kozak's first field goal of the year.
In turnovers, Santa Barbara has 3 and San Jose State 3. Those numbers up on the scoreboard, 7 and 3. Got to look familiar to Johnny Johnson, the great football player from San Jose State. And there's Dwayne Daniels bombing one in from three-point range. Just like that, the Spartans trail by just 1. Another three-pointer, this one by DeHart, no good. Chased down by Desiano of San Jose State. Spartans could take the lead this trip down. Desiano doesn't get it. MacArthur does for Santa Barbara. Here comes Davenport in the middle. Right wing is Johnson.
Santa Barbara still doesn't have good offensive rhythm. They were playing so well together. They were like a machine early in the year. But they have to regain that.
Eric DeHart kicks the ball along the baseline to Doyle. Kojak is on Doyle. Davenport is open. And McPherson jumped over MacArthur to get that ball for San Jose State. 7-6 lead Santa Barbara. We've played A little over 6 minutes of this first half from the Campus Event Center in Santa Barbara. Mike Walden and Ted Owens along the Prime Ticket Network.
San Jose State. Here's a steal by Davenport. Desiano on him. Davenport falls down, works the ball to Doyle. Doyle drives in and doesn't score it. And it'll be out of bounds to San Jose State. And Jerry Finn's going to make a couple of changes. He's going to get Mike Elliott in there, along with Lucius Davis, and Bill Berry will make a change too for San Jose State. Davenport steals the ball. He falls down but dribbles. If he'd have picked his dribble up, it had been a travel. Doyle showed him the basketball, tried to finger roll it. I'll tell you this about San Jose State. They haven't been together very long, but they have some good athletes on the court.
There's one of them right now. Craig McPherson started out at Santa Clara, and Booker Turner yells at one of the players. Something upset Booker. Boy, he really jawed at one player.
Well, a couple of the players looked like they were banging each other a little bit heated.
Foul is on Dwayne Daniels of San Jose State. His first second-team foul.
I'll tell you, Mike, this year, with the new rule about fighting and being thrown out of a game in the following game, you haven't seen much of that.
You've seen some near fights, but they didn't go through with it. You're right, knowing full well the extreme penalty. 7-6, Santa Barbara.
I really think that the NBA needs to look into that. They've had some really fierce battles and a lot of guys getting hurt.
What about the National Hockey League?
Oh.
That's another story, isn't it?
Well,
7-6.
I know a lot of fans who go to the National Hockey League games just to see a fight.
And generally, they are rewarded. By the way, speaking of hockey, Kings won a big one last night in overtime, 7-6 over the Washington Capitals. Here is Lucius Davis. He started in, and the foul is going to be whistled against Dwayne Daniels, San Jose State. San Jose State has Johnny Johnson at 6'3", Craig McPherson 6'9", Mike Puzar 6'7", Dwayne Daniels 6'4", and Tom Desiano 6'1". And coming in now is Fred Wertman for San Jose State. He has been in 4 games with this new team. He played 16 minutes Thursday night in that loss at UC Irvine. Fred Wertman, a 6'1" junior out of San Jose.
San Jose State's been all zone, and the reason they could play the zone is that Santa Barbara is not shooting the ball well outside.
And Santa Barbara has just a one-point lead at 7-6. The foul called on San Jose State's Johnny Johnson. His first, and it's 14 fouls against the Spartans.
San Jose State zone the out-of-bounds play.
I can't believe this low score, 7-4. We played 7.5 minutes, only 13 points.
Well, I can understand that in San Jose State, but Santa Barbara had been such a good offensive basketball team this year. Just, they've lost their rhythm.
Shot by Lucius Davis. Lou! Everybody roars here in Santa Barbara. He's a crowd favorite. Whenever he does something well, they go, Lou!
Well, in Davis and Johnson, they have a couple of outstanding freshmen.
A 9-6 lead for the Gauchos of UCSB, Johnny Johnson. He looks like a football player, doesn't he? Looks like a linebacker. He's a great running back. Scored 19 touchdowns last fall. Desiano off to McPherson. Back to Desiano. This is Wertman. Wertman in trouble. Gets the ball back over to Desiano. 10 on the shot clock. Desiano underneath to McPherson. Scoring it. Nice play. Nice pass by Desiano. And a nice basket by McPherson underneath.
Excellent pass by Desiano. Threw under the defense at the bounce pass.
Well, so far, San Jose State hanging right with Santa Barbara. The Gauchos with just a 1-point lead. We're nearing the midway point in the first half. A lob to MacArthur, and MacArthur is fouled by Mike Puzar. Maybe that wasn't a bad foul to give because MacArthur was so close to the hoop.
Well, he probably would have had the 2 points, and he's only a 63% free throw shooter, which is much improved over a year ago.
Wertman will come out for San Jose State, replaced by Dwayne Daniels.
I think that Bill Berry wants to leave Desiano and Daniels in the ballgame as long as he can, and he just spots Wertman in to give them a little bit of rest.
Eric MacArthur, the young man they call Freeze, because he used to freeze at the free throw line. But his stats don't look that bad. 63% at the line.
Now, his side of the story is that he's such a shot blocker that he freezes the people when they start to shoot. I'm not sure which is the truth.
I know the truth is that Santa Barbara leads 10-8. Eric MacArthur out of South Pasadena, California. He has a 36-inch vertical leap. And a timeout has been called as MacArthur drops in a pair. 11-8, Santa Barbara over San Jose State with a little over 11 minutes remaining in the first half.
BMW 325IS, Mercedes 560 SL, outstanding. But compare them to Riata by Buick. Riata has more standard luxury features than BMW, for thousands less. And Riata's contemporary styling is less than half Mercedes price. In fact, Consumer's Digest calls Riata one of the best buys in domestic cars. Riata by Buick. The competition pales by comparison.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
On a clear day, you can see Mount Shasta 100 miles away. Sure makes everything else look mighty small. Kind of like Great Western Bank, big and strong. You see, nowadays, the Great Western family of companies stands for over $32 billion in assets and the security of federal insurance. They've been keeping folks' money safe for 100 years now, so you know Great Western's going to be there for a long time to come. For sheer size and strength, it sure stands out.
Santa Barbara going with Eric MacArthur at 6'6", Gary Gray 6'9", Lucius Davis 6'6", Carrick DeHart 6'4", Mike Elliott 6'3". And look at the shooting. Oh, that's terrible. Santa Barbara 29%, San Jose 27. San Jose missed its first 6 shots. And yet, it's only a 3-point margin. Santa Barbara 11, San Jose State 8. Stepped over the line. Wayne Daniels having trouble finding that ball, stepped over the end line. So out of bounds to Santa Barbara. Inbounding it, Mike Elliott.
Jerry
gives it right back over to Elliott.
Jerry Pym says we're not playing offense very well, so we're just going to pressure them all over in hopes that we can create some scoring situations.
Elliott, Lucius Davis. Last Lucius that played basketball was Lucius Allen, who was great at UCLA. MacArthur misses underneath, and he was fouled. McPherson got him. Craig McPherson, his first. That is the 16th foul against the Spartans.
Good penetration by Elliott. Good bounce pass under the defense, and MacArthur took it to the basket but was fouled.
Last year, MacArthur averaged 8.5 points a game for the season. This year, coming into the game tonight, he's been averaging 12.6, the number 3 scorer for the Gauchos. And that's his first miss in 3 attempts.
Get ready. 1.
So you see, he's improved right along. Just under 2 points as a freshman. I told you, 8.5 last year, and now 12.6. That throw is good by MacArthur to make it 12-8.
With that progression, he should have a dynamic senior year.
Tom Desiano looks in for Puzar. Desiano takes the shot, gets it right back. And a blocking foul against Santa Barbara. That's going to be against Mike Elliott.
Mike Elliott just slightly off balance.
That's first foul on Elliott, 4 against Santa Barbara. Carlton Davenport in. Elliott will go to the bench. There's Davenport, number 12.
San Jose State hasn't played together long enough to be a smooth, functioning offensive team.
Nothing wrong with that out-of-bounds play, except that McPherson couldn't make the basket. 12-8 the score. Santa Barbara on top. DeHart. Lucius Davis. Davenport along the baseline. Thinks better of it. the alley-oop into Gray, and it'll be out of bounds to San Jose.
Carlton Davenport has only shot 5 3-point attempts. Has only had 5 3-point attempts this year. He's already attempted 2, but they're very reluctant to put the ball up outside.
He has yet to make one this season. That's right. And it goes to McPherson, and McPherson scores. The basket will count, and they will call a foul against Craig McPherson. 2 on McPherson. Interesting story, Craig McPherson, transfer from Santa Clara.
Ball's inside to McPherson. Now, did he deliver the ball before he made contact? The official judged that the ball was out of his hands before he made contact.
But they do count the basket, and the points have not been put up on the scoreboard by the official score. And Bill Berry was pointing that out to Booker Turner, and Turner is going to go over and have a chat with the official score. Now they've got it. Okay, now everything is legal. Bill Berry is saying, wait a minute, it's tough enough, you know, without 10 players. Don't cheat me out of 2 points here that I got.
Well, the official clearly said the basket was good, and I'm surprised that scorekeeper didn't see it.
It's 12-10, and Gray will be at the free throw line. Gary Gray, the 19-year-old sophomore from Granada Hills. A lot of people have expressed the belief that Gary Gray is related to Stuart Gray, who used to be about the same height and played at UCLA. That's not true. The Grays are not related.
You know, Gray started last year. Gives you an indication of the depth that Jerry Pym has this year.
So the 2 free throws by Gary Gray put Santa Barbara on top by 4 at 14-10. From Tiziano to McPherson. Nice move and a nice play by the Spartans.
You can tell that guy's played basketball. Has a nice touch, a good feel for the game.
Well, McPherson already has 6 for San Jose State. MacArthur rolls it in. Foul. The basket counts. MacArthur goes to the line.
They were able to find a hole in the zone, and MacArthur went right down the middle. Great turnover, nice pass, excellent pass by Gray into MacArthur.
Foul on Mike Puzar, San Jose State.
That's the first time they've saw San Jose's state zone.
And Puzar will come out. Greg Marshall in for the Spartans. Greg Marshall is a 6'5" senior who was enrolled in a basketball activities class. Played high school ball, and he also played on the JC level, but he hasn't played any organized basketball for the last couple of years. 3-point play by MacArthur, and it's 8 points for MacArthur in this first half. 17-12 lead, UC Santa Barbara. For San Jose State, Johnny Johnson tries to feed out to Marshall, taken away now by Johnson for Santa Barbara to Davenport. MacArthur. A 14-footer by Eric MacArthur goes through. He got the kind bounce. So MacArthur now is in double digits, 10 points in the game, and generally speaking, when MacArthur scores in double digits, Santa Barbara wins. Santa Barbara's lost 3 in a row, and in those 3 consecutive losses, MacArthur has scored in single digits. So he certainly is the key. 19-12, Santa Barbara. Foul is on Davenport of the Gauchos.
Over a period of 2 years, if MacArthur's in double digits, they've won 19 straight games. 25-1.
Yeah, you can see his value to UC Santa Barbara. And leaving for Santa Barbara is Lucius Davis, returning Carrick DeHart. 19-12 the score.
Well, I think Jerry Pym was a little unhappy the way DeHart was playing early, and maybe a little rest on the bench will make a difference.
The pass by Desiano, funneling it through McPherson. McPherson with 8 points. 19-14. Santa Barbara on top of San Jose State.
Desiano has had 3 or 4 outstanding passes already in this ball game.
Carrick DeHart.
He's the guy that San Jose State must cover in the zone.
Driving in, laying it off is Johnson, setting up Gary Gray underneath. 21-14, and Santa Barbara now starting to widen the gap. We have 8 minutes still to be played here in the first half. Dwayne Daniels goes down to the baseline, gets it over to Desiano, to Johnny Johnson. To the left of the basket is McPherson.
You penetrate a zone 2 ways. you penetrate into the zone with the pass or on the dribble, and Johnson did a beautiful job in penetrating on the dribble.
Timeout call with just under 8 minutes left in the first period, and Santa Barbara has opened up a 7-point advantage over San Jose State.
It turns out the reason we're constrained in direction here...
I really look back upon the university, and I perceive in my bones really the classical university, the center of learning. There's kind of a lifeblood flowing through the university, and it's always been the center and repository of learning, of inquiry, of scholarly contemplation. I really look upon it in that way. Even though I come from the engineering school, which is a professional school, I'd like to see us keep the common core of scholarly inquiry open.
Professor for 1986-87, Dr. Artisan Mills.
Give me a hot, dusty day any time of year. Give me my favorite Ford, and mud-ups are here, 'cause I love getting dirty. Yes, I love getting dirty. So give me rain and puddles in my 4x4. Give me a brand new Ranger.
Started at Santa Clara. He was a reserve, didn't play all of that much for Santa Clara, then transferred to San Jose State. And Bill Berry and the coaching staff of the Spartans wanted him to come out for basketball, but he had a knee problem, and he was kind of stressed out, burned out. And then when all of a sudden the 10 players left the team, they said, hey, you got to come and help us out, and he did, and what a great addition, Craig McPherson.
Well, I think even if... Go ahead. I think even if McPherson had... If Bill Berry had not lost all of his players off the front line, that McPherson would have fit in very well.
It's 21-14 the score. UC Santa Barbara over San Jose State in this Big West Conference game. Jim Haney, the commissioner of the Big West, looking forward to that tournament March 8th through the 11th at the Long Beach Arena. All 10 teams participating in the tournament. Johnson trying to pass down to Doyle. He flips it over his shoulder. And we've got a foul. Rich Colin making the foul.
Not a good play by Daniels. You just don't foul a jump shooter. You make him earn them. And DeHart is an exceptional free throw shooter.
3 fouls on Dwayne Daniels of San Jose State, and Bill Berry is going to send in Chris McGee, and Daniels will come out. Chris McGee is a 6-foot junior out of San Francisco. The assistant coach for Bill Berry at San Jose State is Greg Graham, and McGee was enrolled in Graham's basketball activities class. He last played organized basketball 7 years ago in high school. And here he is up against Santa Barbara. Johnson's second free throw is also good. So a couple of free throws by Paul Johnson makes it 23-14 as the Gauchos start to pull away. 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half.
Santa Barbara right away into their man-for-man pressure.
Johnson gets the ball over to McGee, and there is a mistake that normal players wouldn't make.
He was just too big a hurry, and he changed pivot feet in his anxiety.
When I say normal players, of course, I'm referring to players who have been playing basketball. I just mentioned that McGee hasn't played organized ball in 7 years. The players who have been in the practice in the summer leagues, I doubt if they would make that error. And it goes to Gray. Gray scores it. Gary Gray scoring for Santa Barbara. 25-14. The Gauchos up by 11. Just under 7 minutes to play.
And they want to isolate and get Desiano in a one-on-one situation.
Marshall over to Johnson. McGee with it. Chris McGee, Tom Desiano. A steal by Gray. Davenport, 3-on-1. Davenport takes the 8-footer. And Gray tries to tap it away, and the foul is whistled against Gary Gray.
Well, he did a beautiful job on playing denial defense inside on the post. Good defensive anticipation. Too bad that they didn't convert because they had an outstanding situation. Davenport just wasn't able to get it down.
At the free throw line will be Greg Marshall. He's a 21-year-old senior from Pacific Grove, California. He was going to take the free throw, but they did a double check with the official score, and they found out that was only the 16th foul against Santa Barbara, so you will not shoot a free throw. It'll be out of bounds to the Spartans. Jerry Pym, and Ben Howland is right next to him.
And again, Santa Barbara's double teaming the inbounder.
25-14, Santa Barbara. Desiano trailing on the play is Paul Johnson. Johnson. Johnson goes for that basket in the baseline. Offensive foul on Johnson. That was all right if it would be a first and goal situation, but not in basketball.
He is quick and he is strong.
You know, a lot of football players think they can play basketball and they cannot. Johnson is one who can.
You know, one thing that amazes me, that Johnson can play basketball at all because football emphasizes their weight program so much today.
Here is Paul Johnson. Rebound, Johnny Johnson. Chris McGee for San Jose State. We have San Jose State up in the San Jose Civic Auditorium next Saturday at 5 o'clock against Cal State Fullerton.
Should be a 5-second count.
McPherson puts it up over Gray. McPherson gets it right back and scores it, and Booker Trenger's got a foul, and the basket will count. Foul is on Davenport.
Big basket by Greg Marshall. McPherson turned over, went to the basket very well, and Greg Marshall just out-hustled Santa Barbara. Good effort by Greg Marshall.
And Marshall scoring underneath makes it 25-16. And again, now they're just now putting the points up on the scoreboard. Davenport leads the game with 3 personal fouls. Marshall can't sink the free throw. DeHart has it for Santa Barbara. Here is Mike Elliott for Santa Barbara. Off to Johnson. 25-16, a 9-point lead, Santa Barbara. We have 5.5 minutes remaining here in the first half.
San Jose State's in a box-and-one defense.
Tough break for the Spartans. Marshall got that loose ball, but he was scooting along the floor, traveling the call. Or rather, it's out of bounds to Santa Barbara, as Marshall was able to get the ball. Off it goes to Johnny Johnson. McGee. Underneath, there's McPherson. Rejected by MacArthur. McPherson took too long. DeHart. Elliott was tempted.
A box-and-one defense. McGee is guarding DeHart man for man.
Paul Johnson misses. Johnny Johnson grabs it for San Jose State. UCSB 25, the Spartans 16. Tom Desiano. And the foul against Paul Johnson of Santa Barbara.
And that's a penalty situation.
So Desiano will go to the free throw line. And the Thunderdome is starting to get thunderous.
It appeared that McPherson was dead open for the basket, but a beautiful reaction by MacArthur. You can see why he's the Big West's best shot blocker.
Desiano. Tom Desiano makes the free throw. 25-17.
Now, when we go to the other end of the court, Desiano will be guarding Carrick DeHart man for man. The rest of them are playing a box zone, a 2-2 zone.
Oh, did you see MacArthur snap up that rebound? Wow, off to DeHart. 6 boards already for MacArthur.
McGee is guarding DeHart man for man.
And McGee is 6 feet tall. MacArthur is 6'6", and he can jump out of the building. 25-17. Doyle shot. Rebound, Chris McGee. Tom Desiano for San Jose State.
Santa Barbara still playing a very aggressive man-for-man defense. It's Paul San Jose.
Ball is knocked away from McPherson by DeHart. Over to Eric MacArthur. Elliott. Elliott to MacArthur. There is Johnson open. Johnson for 2. Oh, and MacArthur really took a tumble underneath the basket. And he's in a little bit of pain. Jogging off under his own power now, and Jerry Pym is yelling out to him, "Are you okay?" He says, "Yeah, but they're going to take a timeout nonetheless." 3:48 to go in the first half. A 10-point lead. Jerry Pym and UC Santa Barbara 27 over San Jose State 17.
Sorry, Alex. You know the rules, buddy. Let me have a Stroh's, Pat.
About my monthly tab. Seems really high. No, that's right. Looks high to me. Maybe you shouldn't let your buddy use it.
My buddy.
Brown hair, wears it long.
Is he short?
Yeah, talks funny, too.
Wolf?
Says that a lot.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Eats the peanuts right out of the bowl, too.
You hear the thunder, thunder.
If you've been itching for the hot looks, high performance, and driving excitement of a Pontiac Grand Am, now's the time to act.
Get on your Pontiac and ride! Pontiac ride!
Because now with up to $1,100 cash back for qualified first-time buyers, the hot-handling Pontiac Grand Am fits your budget like never before.
Rebuild excitement!
What can you expect when you invest at Schwab? Ask a Schwab customer.
I'm looking for quick response and accuracy. I call Schwab and often get my market orders confirmed while I'm still on the phone. I like the fact that there's no sales pressure. For me, Schwab simply delivers good service, good value.
For a free booklet, call 800-445-4800. That's 800-445-4800.
Santa Barbara on the season shooting 49% from the floor, but only 41 in this game, and San Jose 32% from the field after the Spartans missed their first 6 shots. A 10-point lead for Santa Barbara. A lot of the kids in the audience here with this 5 o'clock start at the Campus Event Center. 27-17 UCSB. 3:45 till halftime. Desiano brings it up against Paul Johnson.
Paul Johnson is their ace defender. He's their stopper on their ball club.
Mike Elliott comes out to challenge Chris McGee. Trying to get it inside to Marshall. Loose ball. Marshall goes for it. And traveling on Marshall. That's 10 turnovers, and I am just guessing, but I know it's at least 3 or 4 traveling violations against San Jose State.
And I attribute most of that to Santa Barbara's aggressive defense. They have really put the pressure on San Jose State.
I would say it's a combination, that, the Santa Barbara defense, and inexperience. There's the shot by MacArthur, who banks it in. Eric MacArthur. Already, MacArthur has 12 points. 29-17, UCSB. We're down to the final 3 minutes of this half. Tom Desiano. Johnson, Johnny Johnson, the great running back, out to Desiano. Who's got the ball? There's Johnson, flips it behind his back. Johnson's used to scrimmages like that. Oh, that's his kind of game. 29-17. Desiano.
He simply recovered a fumble there.
I don't think I'd like to mix it up with Johnson.
He has great athletic ability. He's driven to the basket a couple of 3 times. He didn't convert at the end of it, but he certainly did show his athletic ability.
Marshall misses, comes right back over to Marshall, puts it up again, and again he doesn't get it, and Marshall goes down hard, and Bill Berry says, how come I didn't get a call?
Yeah, well, with the ball up on the rim, there were hands all over the net, and it had to be goaltending.
But you know, when
watch it, with the ball up on the net, you can have your hand on the net. If the ball's on the cylinder of the rim, which I believe it was in this case.
When you're having all of the problems that San Jose State has been going through since the first part of January, a 10-game losing streak, you don't get calls. Sometimes they just don't go your way. 29-17 score.
Again, boxing 1 defense, a zone, 2-2 zone, and playing Carrick to Hart man for man.
Traveling on Elliott. 6 turnovers by the Gauchos. So even though Santa Barbara has a 12-point lead at 29-17, I don't think that Jerry Pimm's going to be pleased about the play of his team.
It's a little bit unusual that you would play a sophisticated zone like the boxing 1, except that I think that Bill Berry's just had to experiment a lot. He sees a weakness in Santa Barbara's inability to shoot the ball outside, with the exception of DeHart.
Pass into MacArthur. MacArthur down to Carrick DeHart. There's MacArthur. He won't score it, but he's fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. Gary Gray replaced Mike Doyle, so Doyle is on the bench getting a breather. Santa Barbara with MacArthur, Gary Gray, Lucius Davis, Mike Elliott, and Carrick DeHart.
Santa Barbara has not played particularly well in their half-court offense today, but because of their pressure defense and their transition game, they've been able to get out to about a 12-point lead.
12 points in the game for Eric MacArthur. Still 12. That one was an air ball. Just tickled the net. Now you know why they call him Freeze. Look at him. As long as you can laugh about it, huh? With the cameras, with the close-up, he'd like to hide right now.
Well, he would, but let's see if he comes right back and hits this one. He did. Nope.
He did.
He did.
I didn't see it. At least he hit the backboard and the back part of the rim. 29-17, Santa Barbara. Elliott goes out. Kashawn Jackson is in for Santa Barbara in the final minute and a half.
There's that pressure defense again.
There is Gray losing the handle, picks it up and puts it in. Gary Gray, 31-17, Santa Barbara. Johnson throws it in over to Greg Marshall. Back over to Tom Desiano.
Santa Barbara's pressure has really paid off today.
McPherson looking down for Marshall. Desiano on the right wing. And there is a blocking foul on Johnson, and I mean to tell you, he put a good block. I mean, he put a real block on Kashawn Jackson.
Okay, let's watch Johnson's block.
And it was a block.
Oh, yeah, he laid it on him.
3 fouls on Johnny Johnson. And another football player comes on now for Santa Barbara. Norman Brown, he's a linebacker. He replaces his football buddy, Johnny Johnson.
Norman Brown has started the last 2 years at linebacker for San Jose State, and they've had a very good football program.
He had 55 tackles for the Spartans last year and 5 quarterback sacks. So Kashawn Jackson is at the line. Brown with the ball for San Jose State. Norman Brown. 31-17.
Well, I think Jerry Pym recognizes that Santa Barbara hasn't.
Somebody got caught for holding onto the jersey, and that somebody was Kashawn Jackson.
Should be a 1-and-1.
That was really a hold. I mean, he grabbed onto that jersey. He wasn't going to let go.
Number 22, Kashawn
At the free throw line is Craig McPherson. McPherson has 8 points here in the first half. He has been in double figures every game. And this is his 5th game, 6th game for San Jose State.
He has a nice touch. Good rotation on the ball.
His sister's quite a volleyball star. For 2 years, she starred for the San Jose State Spartan women's volleyball team. Heather.
Speaking of volleyball, the Santa Barbara had a big night last night, beat the great UCLA team here.
Men's or women's?
Men's.
31-18 the score. Santa Barbara up by 13. We're down to the final 30 seconds of this half. A steal by McGee. But McGee was out of bounds. Inbounding it for Santa Barbara will be Lucius Davis. Kashawn Jackson against Tom Desiano.
Jerry Pym's looking at a lot of players trying to find some rhythm.
He can be afforded that luxury here in the first half with a 31-18 margin. Down to the final 15 seconds of the first half. Into MacArthur. MacArthur loses it and he tries to swing it up. Carrick DeHart. He pops up a 17-footer. Carrick DeHart. 33-18. DeHart has 4 first half points. Desiano, and they were yelling at him from the San Jose State bench to hurry and try to beat the clock. He did not. At halftime, the expected UC Santa Barbara 33, San Jose State 18.
Hi, I'm Billy Packer with a great new weekly show that focuses on the world of college basketball. Features, analysis, and game previews are just part of Billy Packer's college basketball. Watch us right here on Prime Ticket.
175-pounder, a rookie free agent. He gives the ball to Cheney. He bounces it in low to Gage. Boy, this is a strange lineup, and they throw it away. Gage threw it away to Scott. Scott in deep. Slam dunk! Cheney in there, shot blocked by Magic, stolen by Magic. Magic snaps the ball to Woolridge. He'll finish this baby off underneath, lay it up, and lay it in. Woo! Here comes Magic. He's got it. He throws it on the way for three. Good! I don't believe it.
What a matchup for Valentine's Day. Two of the nation's best women's teams. It's the Lady Vols of Tennessee and the Lady Texters of Louisiana Tech in a major showdown at Islet Fieldhouse in Ruston, Louisiana. Prime Ticket will have it for you Valentine's Day.
This is my new Buick Skylark. And since it's a Buick, it doesn't surprise me that the Skylark is very stylish. With room for 5, and it's smooth and powerful. What did surprise me, though, is that Buick's little limousine is priced less than a Honda Accord DX. So, I got a little limousine for the price of a little car.
The great American love belongs to Buick.
If some sports leave you cold this weekend, warm up with ABC Sports. Saturday, America's new Queen of the Ice will be crowned as ABC's Wide World of Sports presents the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. On Sunday, Subaru presents the World Alpine Skate Championships. And on ABC's College Basketball, Louisville takes on UCLA, or Purdue meets Indiana. Then live coverage of the men's competition as the U.S. Figure Skating Championships conclude. It's red-hot excitement all weekend on ABC Sports.
Hi, I'm General Chuck Yeager. If you're a high school senior or college student and considering joining the Armed Forces after graduation, check out the Air National Guard. The Air Guard will teach you a skill, help pay for your college education, and you'll earn good pay and benefits. And best of all, you'll serve right here at home. If you've got what it takes and want to be a part of America's team, call your Air Guard recruiter today at 714-655-4791 or 818-909-2330. Feel the heat Tuesday as the Lakers welcome Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons to the Great Western Forum. Live coverage begins at 7 o'clock with Lakers Tonight. The Lakers and Prime Ticket, sports television at its best. Hello again, everybody. This is Mike Walden. We are welcoming you here back to the Campus Event Center on the UC Santa Barbara campus at halftime as the Gauchos are battling San Jose State. And it's time now for us to have a quick interview with an old friend of mine, the head coach of the Gauchos, Jerry Pym. Jerry, this has been an unusual season for you in that you got off to that great start. And I remember being up here about a month ago talking about your team, asking if it could be as good as a year ago. Your reply at that time was, it could be. And now you come in here 15-4 and you've lost your last 3.
Well, we had a tough stretch there, Mike. One of the reasons that we've lost these last 3 is we played 3 pretty good teams on their home court, so we can't overlook that. Plus, we haven't played quite as well in the last 2 weeks. A lot of things have entered into it. The quick start, I think the over-expectations, the work ethic might have gone down a little. I think that the guys' priorities might have changed a little, and hopefully this has been a good learning experience, and we'll get our priorities back in line for the final 10 games of the season.
Well, Jerry Pym, what's going on in this league? Tarkanian is having trouble with UNLV. The Rebels are losing some close games that they used to almost automatically win.
Well, you know, Jerry's team does not shoot the ball well from the free throw line, and that's been a real bugaboo for them. They could have won both of those games they lost in conference play, but it's good for the conference, Mike. The Big West is wide open now. If New Mexico State can get them down there at Las Cruces and we can get them here, that'll give them 4 losses. And going into the tournament, I think it really opens it up. I see Fullerton and the 8th place team right now having a chance to beat anybody on a given night, all the way up to the Rebels in 1st place. I think there's a lot of real good teams. The teams in our conference are really equal this year, and I think anybody can win on a given night.
UNLV beat your team in Las Vegas by 16 Monday night. Then Fullerton turns around Thursday night in overtime in a game that we had right here on Prime Ticket, wins 93-92. Did that surprise you, Fullerton's win?
Well, you know, we played them the night before, 2 nights before we went to Vegas, and they played us really, really tough. We had a chance to win a 1-point game right at the end. We don't execute. They do. They beat us legit. And then I thought to myself then, if they give it a good go and hang in there against the pressure, they got a chance against the Rebels.
Now, put everything into perspective, will you? We hear so much about the Big East Conference. Seem to be on television each and every night. The Big Ten Conference. How does the Big West stack up?
Well, you know, as I look at all of them, and fortunately I have a satellite on the boat, I can catch up on all the games all over the country, and I got my tape machine running 24 hours a day, so I do get to watch a lot of basketball, and I think that we can play with anybody. I'm not saying that we can win any league in the country. I think we can play with any conference in the country on a given night. And in their building and then in our buildings, I think it would be a 50-50 thing. And I really think that the Big West Conference, going into the conference play, is going to get 2 or 3 people into the NCAA tournament this year.
Jerry Pym, you know very well about the San Jose State situation since January, the 10 players leaving. What are your thoughts about the whole situation?
Well, Mike, they left right after our game at the Civic Center. I felt really bad for Bill. I felt bad for the kids. I think the kids got some bad advice. I don't think that they really felt that this was going to turn out this way. And they didn't think enough about it. And once they did it, they were backed into a corner. And I felt bad for Bill Berry first and for Clarice and Ricky and the family, because they're a basketball family and they're really good people. Bill's a good father. He's a good husband, and he's a good person. And he didn't deserve this. The kids are good kids. They just had some bad advice, and it's too bad that it happened. But it's happened. It's history. Everybody's got to live with it now. And that's one thing we learned, basketball and life. You make choices, and you have to pay the consequences. You must be responsible for your choices.
Quick question about you, Jerry Pym. There is a vacancy at Arizona State. I've heard your name mentioned for the Arizona State basketball job.
Well, it's certainly one of the best jobs in the country, and when the season ends, if they are interested in visiting with me, I'd certainly like to visit with them, but that by no means means that I would be interested in going. I would like to talk with them. I think any coach that's looking to improve his situation might want to talk, but right now I'm just interested in the Gauchos, trying to win a conference championship or be the best we can be in that March tournament in Long Beach.
Jerry Pym's having another great year here at UC Santa Barbara, 15-4 overall. Thank you, Jerry, for the visit. Jerry Pym, the head basketball coach at the University of California, Santa Barbara. We'll be back with more of our halftime from Santa Barbara after this.
The multiple-port fuel-injected Ford Escort GT. Because what's rock without roll?
Get 4.9% financing or $500 cash bonus on 89 Escort.
In front, he shoots, he scores!
Attention fans, the Southern California Mitsubishi Motors dealers proudly announce the On the Road with the Kings contest. You could win a new Mitsubishi Mighty Max 4x4 truck, courtesy of your Southern California Mitsubishi Motors dealers. You'll also join the Los Angeles Kings on a road trip when they battle the New Jersey Devils and New York Rangers in late February. You'll fly round trip to New York, courtesy of today's TWA. Find out how good they are to New York and stay at the beautiful Sheraton Center provided by Sheraton, the hospitality people of ITT. To enter, fill out the entry form available at your participating Southern California Mitsubishi Motors dealers or send your name, address, and phone number on a postcard to On the Road with the Kings, 401 South Prairie, Suite 104, Inglewood, California, 90301. Entries must be received by February 15th.
Nichols to Duchesne, he scores!
Don't get shut out. Break away to your participating Southern California Mitsubishi Motors dealers and enter today.
The University of California, Santa Barbara is a special place. Bordered by the Pacific Ocean, with its own lagoon and the Santa Ynez Mountains behind it, UC Santa Barbara may be the most beautiful college campus anywhere. But its beauty is more than skin deep. UC Santa Barbara has an international reputation to be proud of. More than half of the campus's departments rank in the top 30 colleges and universities in the country. With an outstanding Marine Science Institute, a National Center for Research in Theoretical Physics, and on the forefront of robotics research, UC Santa Barbara is a campus on the move. The creative spirit of the faculty has enabled UC Santa Barbara to open the nation's first program in environmental studies, the first graduate program in public history, and the first Department of Religious Studies in a public university. It's a major research university that prides itself on excellent teaching and a friendly atmosphere. The University of California, Santa Barbara, dynamic, innovative, creative, more than just a pretty place.
Wednesday, Prime Ticket delivers thrilling hockey action as the Kings face off against the Boston Bruins at the Great Western Forum. Live coverage starts at 7 o'clock with Kings Corner. Prime Ticket, sports television at its best. And the Kings fresh from a 7-6 overtime victory last night over the Washington Capitals. There is Brian Shaw, who led Santa Barbara into the NCAA tournament last year. Now with the Boston Celtics, Brian was introduced to this capacity crowd of 6,000 just a few minutes ago. Got a standing ovation, of course.
Well, there's some great seniors. There's some great seniors in this league last year. Brian Shaw, Ricky Berry is playing beautiful basketball. Now, Ingolstadt, Morton Wiley, there's some terrific basketball players.
Morton Wiley, of course, at Long Beach State. Ricky Berry, the son of Bill Berry, the coach at San Jose State. And all in all, you're right. And don't forget Jerry Patio, who was with the Boston Celtics for a while, of UNLV.
No, a great three-point shooter. Played at Seminole Junior College. Outstanding. This is quite a game we're having here. It's
well, it's not a close game because, after all, it's 33-18 at the half. But I like the play of San Jose State. They're gutty out there. They realize that they can't play at this level, but they're giving it their all. And after all, that's what college athletics is all about.
Yeah, it seems to me of all the players playing, of the new players playing, that Craig McPherson sticks out as head and shoulders the best player.
And, of course, they were trying to get the ball inside a lot, San Jose State, in the first half, and with some success, especially with Tom Desiano getting it inside to Craig McPherson.
Well, they finally passed it someplace that MacArthur couldn't block the shot. It's a beautiful pass by Desiano.
9 points by McPherson to lead the Spartans. Daniels down to 3, and you can see the rest of the scoring. Actually, you could say the first half was a Big Mac production because McPherson for San Jose State and then Eric MacArthur for Santa Barbara.
Nice drop pass to MacArthur, and MacArthur keeps the ball high as you must in that condition and bank the ball in.
Jerry Pim's got to be pleased because MacArthur already with 12 first half points, and MacArthur in that 3-game losing streak had been in single digits, but MacArthur coming up with 12 first half points.
Yeah, MacArthur and DeHart were the guys that haven't been playing particularly well, but MacArthur has really come back today.
A big 15-point halftime margin enjoyed by UC Santa Barbara, 33-18. Back with from the Campus Event Center in Santa Barbara, California.
Away they go. Racing down to Roswell, Radiant.
When the marshal calls the racers, you'll be set for the day's racing highlights from beautiful Santa Anita.
And Gonzalez lands punch after punch in the jaw. And Radcliffe is about to go down. I don't know what's holding him up. Darnell going to give it his best shot.
One more shot.
Meantime, oh my heavens. Oh, what a right hand. Radcliffe's pro debut. Oh, that's it.
Thursday night, a college basketball double dip. From Stockton, a Big West clash as University of Pacific grapples with UC Irvine. Then a Pac-10 tilt as the Trojans of USC meet up with the Wildcats of Arizona. Prime ticket doubleheader college basketball Thursday.
Tide's been coming in here long before any man came to these shores, but these mighty rocks stand fast, big and strong. Well, that's the kind of strength folks have been counting on for over 100 years with Great Western. You see, Great Western is built on a solid base of over $32 billion in assets and backed by the security of federal insurance. So if you want a bank that'll make your money grow safely, come to Great Western Bank. We'll be standing big and strong.
Black Rock, Nevada and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Black Rock means land sailing, riding the wind across dry desert lakes. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, an Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
You know, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
With the Santa Barbara Band in the background, we would remind you that tonight's game is brought to you by your participating Southern California Chevrolet dealers, home of the $1,000 a day, everyday test drive giveaway. No obligation, nothing to buy. Just test drive any new Chevrolet or GEO import. And by Stroh's and Stroh's Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. The feet are a-tapping because the Gauchos are leading 33-18 over San Jose State. Gauchos trying to increase their overall mark to 16-4, and in the league, the Gauchos would then move up to 7-4. Let's check the halftime statistics. 46%ing for the Gauchos from the floor, 30% for the Spartans. Free throws, only 43% for San Jose State. Rebounds, a little bit of a margin there, and 5 more turnovers by the Spartans.
Well, Santa Barbara's had an edge in every category: shooting, rebounding, causing turnovers, and that's why they're 15 points ahead.
Out of bounds to San Jose State to get underway here in the second half. The Spartans going with Craig McPherson, Mike Puzar, Johnny Johnson, Tom Desiano, and Dwayne Daniels. For Santa Barbara, it'll be Paul Johnson, Mike Doyle, Eric MacArthur, Carrick DeHart, and Carlton Davenport.
Santa Barbara coming right back with a very aggressive man-for-man defense.
It's the personal on Paul Johnson, his first 2 team fouls. Or his second, and excuse me, his second and 1 team foul.
Paul Johnson is a forward offensively, but on defense, he many times covers the toughest guard on the other team.
15-point lead. Santa Barbara. Slapped away by Eric MacArthur.
Well, Santa Barbara looks to be very alive. I'm certain that they're saying, Jerry Pim has told them, don't let them get back in the ball game with us. And of course, Bill Berry, on the other hand.
Here's a steal by Davenport, but he couldn't quite grasp the ball. And it'll be out of bounds to San Jose State. As you look at number 12, Davenport, 4 assists in the first half. He leads Santa Barbara in sports annals, most assists ever in school history. The former mark was held by Connor Henry.
San Jose State has been together so little that they don't have all the little intricate, sophisticated moves that you need in an offense. They barely know the plays, and they don't have. There's a pressure release.
Daniels looking in for Puzar. He's being fronted by Doyle. And we got a foul called, and Daniels is fouled.
Paul Johnson again on the fouls. That's 2 in this half.
3 overall on Johnson.
Paul Johnson, 3rd personal foul, team foul number 2.
Santa Barbara will be in action here Monday night against Utah State.
They've had trouble with Utah State recently.
Haven't they, though? Yes, Utah State beat them in Logan, Utah earlier in the season.
Utah State's beaten them 4 times in a row.
Desiano, and you would think that with all of the background that Jerry Pim has had, he used to be the head coach at Utah for 9 years.
Great cutback, good pass by Johnny Johnson. Good cutback by Dwayne Daniels. That's the only way that you're going to whip this pressure. You're going to have to backdoor them some.
MacArthur committed the foul.
Johnny Johnson spotted Dwayne Daniels was overplayed. As he looked back, he was overplayed. Good cutback. Good pass.
Dwayne Daniels, good free throw shooter, a 74%er is at the line. This is the 3rd year that Daniels has been a member of the San Jose State basketball team. He is one of the 4 who decided to stay. The other 10 said they were leaving because of mental cruelty and verbal abuse by Bill Berry. Wow. Daniels, I don't think even saw that poster. Yep, maybe he did. As he missed that free throw. There's the shot by McPherson, and McPherson is fouled, and McPherson will go to the line, and they're going to hold up the poster again. 33-19. That's 3 on Eric MacArthur. 33-19.
Booker Turner told him not to hold up the poster again.
I think it was a good idea.
Booker, one of the great officials in basketball.
Amen. 33-20 the score. Booker Turner out of Los Angeles, working along with David Hall and Rich Colin. Hall, you know, used to be a pitcher for Irv Brown at the University of Colorado. Left-hander, had a record of 8-2. And Irv Brown used to be one of the top officials in the U.S.
He not only handled the game, he handled the players so well.
33-21 the score. Carrick DeHart. Desiano trying to give him a hard time. Doyle over Puzar. Flip back into play to Doyle. Nice save by MacArthur. Doyle off balance, puts up the shot nonetheless. Johnny Johnson for San Jose State.
Trying to draw a foul. It was a bad shot, but he was trying to draw a foul. He really, I don't think, thought he had much chance of hitting the basket.
33-21. There's the shot by Johnny Johnson. Johnson goes for the ball. And on the bottom of the pile is Carrick DeHart.
He certainly knows that part of the game, the physical part of it.
Doyle will leave the Santa Barbara lineup, replaced by Gary Gray. 33-21, Santa Barbara. The Gauchos got off to an early 7-1 lead. It took San Jose State about 4 minutes before they were able to score after the Spartans missed their first 6 shots from the field.
Desiano's playing DeHart man for man. Everyone else is in zone. They're in a 2-2 zone or a box and one, as most coaches call it.
The shot by Johnson. Follow up MacArthur. The great leaping ability of Eric MacArthur. 35-21, Santa Barbara.
San Jose State hasn't found an answer for keeping MacArthur off the board.
Desiano. The Spartans have lost 10 in a row. Santa Barbara, 3 straight losses. The most in 4 years for Jerry Pimm's team. Desiano in the lane, puts up a prayer. Grabbed off by MacArthur. Here comes Davenport. Pass underneath the Gray. Bank shot, yes. Gary Gray. 10 points for Gray. 37-21. And Bill Berry calls for a timeout. The Spartans get a timeout. 17 minutes left. And it's a 16-point advantage. Santa Barbara.
Logan Pass, Montana and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Logan Pass means trailblazing, exploring the wilderness of Glacier National Park. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place, an Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
Guys, it just doesn't get any better than this. We're giving away $1,000 on Monday, $1,000 on Tuesday, and every day of the week during your Southern California Chevrolet Dealer Association's $1,000 a day, every day test drive giveaway. Now, there's no obligation, nothing to buy, and there's a new winner every day. So come on in and test drive any new Chevrolet or Geo import, and then enter the $1,000 a day, every day test drive giveaway. Only at your Southern California Chevrolet dealers.
Monday night, Prime Ticket goes to the fights, beginning with Fight Night at the Forum live at 7 o'clock, followed by exciting boxing from Bally's in Las Vegas at 9:30. Prime Ticket, sports television at its best. That young man is known as Joe O'Brien, and sometime during the course of a game here at the Campus Event Center, during a timeout, he'll come out and get the crowd all jacked up, and he just finished his antics, and they followed suit. He had him in the palm of his hand. Joe O'Brien, 37-21. Down it comes over to McPherson. Puts up a little short running hook. No, and it's off to Carrick DeHart. 3-on-2. DeHart all the way. Lays it up, scores it. That is the way a 3-on-2 should be run.
He saw the defense split. They had 2 defenders back, and they chose to guard the wingmen, and he just kept the ball in the middle. Beautiful execution.
An 18-point lead now for Santa Barbara. And a lot of the reserves for the Gauchos, who have seen little, if any, action all season, are saying to themselves right now, this is going to be our game. We're going to see a little playing time before it's all over. 39-21. Desiano is tied up by Davenport, and it's going to be a jump ball. All into possession. And it'll be out of bounds to the Gauchos. 39-21. UC Santa Barbara. The halftime score, 33-18. Santa Barbara has led throughout.
I thought San Jose State inbounded to start the second half. Maybe I've overlooked another jump ball.
I guess so, because it's out of bounds to San Jose State. There's McPherson looking inside. Johnny Johnson. Daniels. McPherson doesn't get it. Nice play. Ball simply wouldn't drop. And the foul against Daniels. Dwayne Daniels, one of the original players for San Jose State, picks up his 4th personal foul.
That was an outstanding pass by Johnny Johnson. They sent Craig McPherson back door. Was dead open for it. Perfect pass. He just didn't look it in the basket.
Next time the ball is dead, Bill Berry will get Fred Wertman in for Daniels. The Hart shot right through. 8 points for Eric DeHart. 20-point lead, Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara starting to gain a little rhythm. They're playing with much more confidence. Really aggressive on defense.
McPherson falls down, and then he stepped over the end line to boot. So it's a tough break all the way around for Craig McPherson. Here's a theory that I have, Ted Owens, on why Santa Barbara got out of the blocks so slowly. I really think that they felt compassion for the situation at San Jose State, and they weren't ready to start this game.
I don't think consciously they did, but I think subconsciously that you just feel that way.
You got to feel for these guys out here wearing the blue and gold, the blue uniforms of San Jose State. Everything that's gone on, they're doing the best they can. Down by 20. MacArthur puts up the shot, scores it. The basket will count. MacArthur fouls.
I think everyone's felt compassion except Eric MacArthur today. I don't think he's felt much compassion. Watch MacArthur. Good step-through move, good extension, nice play.
Foul was on Puzar of San Jose State. MacArthur having a big game here against San Jose State. 44-20. Desiano over to Johnson.
San Jose State's getting the ball across the line, but they're not making Santa Barbara pay for spreading their defense.
Steal by MacArthur. Davenport all the way. Johnson trailing on the play, and Davenport didn't want any part of Johnson. I don't blame him.
Well, it's the smartest play he's made all day.
44-21. Santa Barbara. Johnson makes it 46-21. Paul Johnson. 6 in the game for Paul Johnson. And a timeout has been called by San Jose State. 14 minutes and change left in this one. And Santa Barbara routing the Spartans of San Jose State.
Your Southern California Chevrolet Dealers Association announces the $1,000 a day, every day test drive giveaway. Now, there's a $1,000 winner every day of the week. That's right, every day of the week. There's no obligation, nothing to buy. And there's a new winner every day. So come on in and test drive any new Chevrolet or Geo import, and then enter the $1,000 a day, every day test drive giveaway. Only at your Southern California Chevrolet dealers.
Oh, look at this. It's priceless.
Naturally.
It's Mom and Dad's 50th wedding anniversary.
Here we go.
Oh, wait, I'm going to charge it with the American Express card. That way it's automatically insured.
Hi, did you get it?
Hi, Mom.
Terrific.
You won't believe it. Don't worry. Remember, I used the American Express card. So it's insured.
Lost, stolen, or damaged. A way to protect the things you buy. Membership has its privileges.
You would think that Bill Berry and his Spartans were only a point behind. No, not so. They're 25 points behind, but Berry is still coaching as well as he can. One reason they're behind is because San Jose State has not made a field goal here in the second half. 0 for 4. The same expanse of time. Santa Barbara's gone 6 out of 9. Traveling is the call against John Kojak. Kojak's quite a high jumper.
7 feet as a freshman.
And that is his career best. He's done it twice, he tells me. He's the bellman, you know. He works at the Red Lion Inn up in San Jose State.
That's
and he's only made one practice. Couldn't play against UC Irvine Thursday night. He was working. Great pass. And Gray underneath. 12 points for Gray. 48-21.
Well, Jerry Pym didn't like Mike Doyle's shot that he took earlier, and we haven't seen anything more of him. Gary Gray came in and has done a very fine job.
Another Spartan turnover as Puzar gets ready to come back in for the Spartans. He replaces Kojak. 16 San Jose State turnovers. The other night they only had 11 against UC Irvine, and Irvine went on to win that game big, 91-69.
San Jose State straight 2-3 zone.
There's Carrick DeHart. MacArthur doesn't get it. McPherson does for the Spartans. It's a 48-21 Santa Barbara lead. Over 13 minutes remaining here at the Campus Event Center on the Santa Barbara campus.
Davenport's really giving Desiano a tough time. Playing beautiful defense. You forget about this Santa Barbara team. Only one senior on the ball club.
And that's Davenport. Desiano. Snapping up the rebound, Johnson. There's the alley-oop to Gray. Timing wasn't there, and McPherson has it for the Spartans. UC Santa Barbara, 48. San Jose State, 21. Mike Walden and Ted Owen. Here's a steal by MacArthur and the foul on McPherson. I think McPherson, in his frustration, realizing that MacArthur had picked his pocket, then turned around and fouled MacArthur.
Santa Barbara's really alive on defense. Their reactions are beautiful.
Couple of change now. Dwayne Daniels returns for San Jose State. He's playing with 4 fouls. Lucius Davis returns for Santa Barbara. So Santa Barbara will have DeHart, Johnson, Lucius Davis with the ball now, along with MacArthur and Gray. Knocked away from Gray. Desiano for San Jose State. Neither team has tried many three-point shots tonight. Of course, SantaArbor at the big league, they don't have to.
No, but they're not that much of a three-point shooting team.
Well, you're right. Santa Barbara tries only 7 a game, makes just 2. On the other hand, San Jose State tries between 11 and 12 a game and makes 4.
I think we could see a three-point attempt here pretty soon. DeHart's playing the point against the 2-3 zone, and the point is sometimes open. Beautiful pass by DeHart.
And MacArthur has it rejected. MacArthur foul, goes back to the free throw line.
That's why it's good to have size at the point. DeHart could see over the defense, and he spotted Eric MacArthur under the basket. Beautiful pass.
MacArthur has 17 points tonight. Foul was on Johnny Johnson, his 4th. Eric MacArthur with 17 points. And Dave, how many rebounds do you have? 9 rebounds. Okay. 48-21 the score. 49-21. Our producer is Mark Rita, who spent last Thursday night down in Las Cruces, New Mexico, for the Aggie game down there. New Mexico State in 2nd place in the Big West Conference with an 8-4 record, and probably the Aggies will win again tonight against UOB down in Las Cruces.
Well, they had a big game. They won at Fresno State. Then they had the traffic accident and lost 2 or 3 players, but they're back with them, so they're in full tilt right now as they go down the stretch.
49-21, Santa Barbara. New Mexico State with an 8-4 mark and 15-7 overall. Neil McCarthy has done an excellent coaching job. And let's see what all of this is about. Lucius Davis is involved, and the foul is on Davis.
He reached in and fouled McPherson.
His first. 5 team fouls on Santa Barbara.
San Jose State was using McPherson as a pressure release, and Davis spotted it and just supported in on the post.
We have played 8.5 minutes in the second half. San Jose State has not been able to get a field goal this half. Maybe. Yes, finally McPherson. 49-23. He breaks the scoring drought. San Jose State has scored just 5 points here in the second half. DeHart. Underneath MacArthur, and MacArthur is fouled. And MacArthur spent a lot of time on the floor.
Yeah, he has, but he's a man around those baskets. Really a terrific rebounder. Let's watch MacArthur. He's not only a good jumper, but he's strong, and he keeps those arms extended. Keeps those arms up in the air.
Paul Johnson leaves for Santa Barbara. Mike Elliott replaces him. MacArthur has 18 to his total tonight. 18 points, make it 19. And it's a 27-point lead for Santa Barbara. And we have over 11 minutes remaining. 51-23. Santa Barbara.
Well, Santa Barbara's going to win another game in which he hit the double digits.
Norman Brown, the linebacker from the San Jose State football team, is in there, working with Daniels. Daniels loses the ball. Going for it is McPherson, along with Lucius Davis, and Gray comes up with it, and a foul on McPherson. Tough foul to call on Craig McPherson.
I'm not sure that I totally agree with that call. You know, that they put in the rules several years ago that you can't swing your elbows as a protection so that you wouldn't hit somebody in the face. And I thought Gray was probably excessive in swinging the elbows in.
That's the 4th personal on McPherson. And he's the leading light for San Jose State. Lucius Davis. Garrick DeHart.
Garrick DeHart's now playing the point guard position.
There's the alley-oop underneath to MacArthur. And Booker says, get your foot over the line. So Norman Brown will bring it in for San Jose State. Dwayne Daniels. Tom Desiano.
Well, Bill Berry's tried to find a lot of answers today to get them moving, but just hasn't been able to do so.
51-23. UCSB. Desiano for 3. He's got it. Tom Desiano. 51-26. Gauchos. We're right at the midway point in the second half. 10 minutes remaining. Garrick DeHart on the drive. I think Desiano got him.
This is a young Santa Barbara team on the court. Garrick DeHart, a junior, running the point guard position. 2 freshmen on the court, 2 juniors, and here comes Mike Doyle back in the ballgame.
Well, next year, Jerry Pim will get Bob Ernst, a 6'9" young man out of Orange County that played a couple of years for USC and then transferred up here this year. Bob Ernst at 6'9" becomes eligible. Pim already has 2 early signees, 6'6" Mike Meyer out of Joliet, Illinois, and 6'3" Adress Jones out of Pasadena. So
could be a dynamite year for them.
It could be indeed. But you know, there's always going to be a team at UNLV as long as Jerry Tarkanian is there. He just keeps adding to the ledger all the time. Although he's having real problems right now, especially at the free throw line.
Oh, I talked to him before the game against Fullerton the other night, and he was shaking his head. And good pass inside, good turnover by McPherson. Was able to get it in, a chance for a 3-point basket.
So tonight, 2 fouls on Gary Gray. McPherson going for his 17th and gets it. 51-29. Just about what McPherson's been averaging. 16 a game, and he has 17 now.
Johnny Johnson hasn't been able to score tonight. He's averaging 8 points a game.
Johnson had an off night against Irvine, too, just 4 points. Johnson has been averaging just under 9 a game. Pearson threw it right over to Carrick DeHart. DeHart goes for the baseline, shoves up the 10-footer. Daniels the other way. Now San Jose State with a 3-on-1. Daniels takes the shot. The foul will be whistled against. If it's on Daniels, it'll be his 5th. And that is the case. 5 fouls on Dwayne Daniels.
Well, let's look as Daniels drove to the basket. Did Gray have good position, or did he move after he left? I believe he moved. We didn't have a real good angle, but I think he moved to his left.
Paul Johnson returns for Santa Barbara. Going out is Carrick DeHart. And Fred Wertman back in for San Jose State. Dwayne Daniels fouls out with 9 minutes remaining. 4 points for Daniels. He's one of the original players. I say original, one of those that started the season when practice began October the 15th. Another one, Juan Swoboda, at 6'9", was the leading scorer, but he went out with knee surgery a week ago. Lost for the rest of the season. So when things go bad, sometimes they get even worse.
And that certainly has happened at San Jose State.
The 2 officials, Rich Colin and Booker Turner, conferring. Give the ball out of bounds to the Spartans. 51-29, UCSB. Next Thursday, we will be up in the Spano Center in Stockton for UOP and Cal State Fullerton. The Titans still celebrating after that 93-92 overtime victory at Titan Gym Thursday night over UNLV. Although Fullerton will have a tough time tonight against UC Irvine at the Brin Center, I'm sure. And I know John Steen's concerned about that. And I know Bill Mulligan would like to have Fullerton coming off a big win like that than maybe a defeat.
Yeah, it's a perfect situation for Irvine because Brin Center will really be pumped up, and they've had some big victories there this year.
Fullerton at UC Irvine. UOP will be at New Mexico State and Fresno State at Long Beach State tonight in the Big West Conference.
I think that'll be a good ball game. Long Beach State 7-5, Fresno 6-5 should be a good one.
A victory for Long Beach State tonight would mean that the 49ers are even on the year overall, 11-11. So Desiano drops in a couple of free throws. It's 51-31, and Westbell comes in for Santa Barbara. John Westbell. He's been here 4 years, redshirted his first year. He's from Kettering, Ohio, 6'11". And he's got his own cheering section. 51-31, Santa Barbara. Elliott, bank shot. Grabbed off by Desiano. He's got to beat Johnson. Desiano puts it up, doesn't get it. Followed, hook shot by Mike Puzon. Oh, he's going to be talking about that one when he gets home to San Jose. Did you see that little hook that I had? Nothing to it.
Be some great memories by some of these young men who came in and helped.
Westbell takes the shot.
He was hammered.
Wertman for San Jose State to Desiano. Wertman takes the shot.
Good block.
Doyle is fouled by McPherson.
Good block out by Mike Doyle.
That's 5 on Craig McPherson. And it's the first time in 6 games that McPherson is fouled out. 51-33.
Personal foul number 5. Number 33, Craig McPherson.
16 points for McPherson. So already Bill Berry has lost certainly 2 of his top 3 players. I'm talking about Craig McPherson at 6'9" and Dwayne Daniels 6'3". And Greg Marshall is coming in.
Well, what was already an insurmountable lead become even more difficult.
Doyle at the line. 52-33. Generally, this place is so noisy, it's difficult to hear ourselves talk back and forth, and you're within, 7 inches from me, Ted Owens, but here, practically the entire building can hear us rattling around. It's that kind of a game. 53-33, and we'll get a timeout with 7:50 left. Santa Barbara all the way over San Jose.
It was a record-breaking meet just a couple of weeks back, and if you missed it, Prime Ticket will show it once again. The Sunkist Invitational Track and Field meet from the LA Sports Arena had it all. See for yourself in this encore presentation tomorrow. This season, it's Prime Ticket for the hottest and most thrill-packed college basketball found anywhere on local or regional sports cable. Over 52 games as both the men and women show their stuff. UCLA, USC, San Diego State, UC Irvine, Long Beach State, Pepperdine, UC Santa Barbara, as well as national powerhouses North Carolina and Nevada, Las Vegas, make this a season of greatness. College basketball on Prime Ticket. It's sports television at its best. Over 1,000 athletes get ready to compete in the Coca-Cola National Sprint Triathlon. Some of the best male and female triathletes will be there. So will Prime Ticket. So join us for the Coca-Cola National Sprint Triathlon.
This Big West Conference game is brought to you by Toyota. Quality right down the line. Who could ask for anything more? Toyota. And by Great Western's family of companies with over $32 billion in assets, 100 years strong. We'll always be there. And we will be in Stockton Thursday night for UOP and Gary Grant. I was watching Gary Grant of the Los Angeles Clippers looking on. It'll be Fullerton against UOP Thursday night from the Spanos Center. Wait a minute, UC Irvine. I'm sorry, UC Irvine and UOP Thursday night. Fullerton will play San Jose State on Saturday up at the Civic Auditorium. We'll have that one for you, too, right here on Prime Ticket.
Yeah, Fullerton and Irvine, two of the hottest teams in the league.
Marshall made the last basket for San Jose State. It's 53-35. Lucius Davis misses. Davis gets it back, and he's fouled. Fred Wertman and Greg Marshall will over there in the area, and the foul is on Marshall.
Well, it seems to me that Santa Barbara wanted to accomplish. Obviously, they wanted to win a ball game, but they wanted to get back a little bit of their offensive rhythm. I'm not sure they've done that, but certainly their defense has been very impressive today.
Johnny Johnson returns. He's playing with 4 fouls, and the linebacker, Norman Brown, comes out for San Jose State. 53-35. Davis has finally got the bounce, though.
Davis's father was a great scorer. Doesn't he hold the all-time record at Fresno State?
He does indeed. His name is Lucius also. 55-35, Santa Barbara. Into Desiano. Davenport putting a little pressure on Tom Desiano. Greg Marshall. Marshall over to Puzar. And the Gauchos come the other way with Davenport leading the way. Off to Westbeld. His shot. No. Grabbed off by Doyle. Yes. Doyle.
Doyle's come back in off the bench and has really responded well. He's very much alive.
Doyle has scored only 7 tonight, but the Gauchos haven't needed him to score a lot. 57-35. And Booker Turner has a foul on Puzar, Mike Puzar.
Illegal screen.
One thing, I like the way these officials have worked tonight, even though the problems with San Jose State and the tendency might be to relax and just enjoy yourself out there. They are working this game as if first place is at stake.
You bet. They've been right on top of everything, and as I've mentioned before, Booker is one of the very best officials in all of America.
Booker Turner, David Hall, and Rich Colin. John Danglis, the supervisor of officials in the Big West Conference.
Number 23, John Kozak.
And John Kozak, the high jumper, he came to San Jose State on a track scholarship, and a year ago, San Jose State abandoned track and field. So he was an usher at the Civic Auditorium for the home games for San Jose State, and they noticed that he was 6'6", and he had some jumping ability. He said, try out for basketball. He did. He says, I can't be there every night because of my job at the Red Lion Inn up in San Jose. They said, make it when you can. And he made it tonight.
Doesn't seem like too many years ago that San Jose State had one of the great track programs in America.
Follow up, no, by Davis. And we've got a foul underneath. And even though Bill Berry's team is down by 23 points, he's up off the bench clapping his hands and trying to instill some vigor and some stamina and some spirit into this team.
Well, I think their hopes are that they can win a game this year, and they'll be back home for a couple.
And I'll guarantee you one game they will not win, their next game. UNLV at the San Jose Civic Auditorium. Marshall wide to the left. Follow-up is no good by Kozak. By the way, speaking of UNLV, Jerry Tarkanian and the Rebels battle North Carolina State at NC State tomorrow afternoon. That'll be a tough one for UNLV.
That'll be a very difficult one.
Wolfpack just beat North Carolina the other night.
And they're leading the ACC and right now, the ACC conference.
Think that book will come out soon about Jim Valvano and all the problems at NC State?
Oh, I suspect that it would be a relief to everyone. You know, sometimes the bark's louder than the bite.
The book was written by a former student manager in the basketball program at NC State, alleging to so-called improprieties in the NC State basketball program. John Kojak, a 6'6" junior from Reno, Nevada. He was on the University of Nevada Reno squad a couple of years ago. Didn't play very much. Then came to San Jose State on the track scholarship. 58-36, Santa Barbara. Carrick DeHart. Johnson puts it up. Follow up by Doyle, and Doyle is fouled underneath. Or did Doyle commit the foul? It's on Doyle.
Doyle's come back and really battled in the last part of this second half. He went to the bench early in the half, and when he came back, he was really ready to play.
Tony Akins into the Santa Barbara lineup for the first time. Akins is a 6'6" junior from Pasadena. Went to Muir High School. Free throw is good by Johnson. This is what Johnson did in the football season, 19 touchdowns. And that's what Johnson has scored in 6 games on the basketball team.
Well, he might reach that by the end of the year.
He had 16, though, in one game against Utah State.
I'll tell you. Good steal.
Here is Marshall missing underneath. 58-38. DeHart. We're down to the final 5.5 minutes.
Carrick DeHart playing the point. I wonder if this is a sign of the future.
That missed shot by Tony Akins. I tell you, San Jose State, no way they're going to win this game, but they're still trying hard. Down to Johnson. Johnson scores it. Johnny Johnson. 58-40. 5 points for Johnson.
Now, he's had a frustrating day, but he's continued to play hard.
Gary King's probably saying to himself right now, I just want to get out of this without any injuries. And you know, it could be because 5 minutes to play gets a little loose.
Well, I'll tell you, there are two horses guarding each other. Johnny Johnson and now Tony Akins. They're two athletes.
And Johnson becomes the third player to foul out for San Jose State. Let's see, the first one to foul out was Daniels, and then McPherson, and now Johnson. At the free throw line will be Lucius Davis.
Number 20, Chris McGee, is in the game, replaces Johnny Johnson.
Make that 4 of San Jose State players that have fouled out. Kuzar fouled out too. He kind of slipped in and out unnoticed. So 4 San Jose State players have fouled out. We have just under 5 minutes left, and Davis makes it 59-40.
I talked to Jerry Pim this morning before the game, and he indicated that Tony Akins has played very well in practice. He was going to give him more of a look.
Gray. Davis doesn't get it. And it'll be out of bounds to Santa Barbara. Looking at the high jumper, Kojak, John Kojak.
Good pass by Tony Akins. Beautiful pass.
Finally got it to drop. 61-40. So this makeshift San Jose State team, some original players that started the season, some baseball players, football players, a track man, and some walk-ons. And there is one of the walk-ons, Fred Wertman, pumping one in. 61-42. A wild hook by Carrick DeHart. DeHart will go to the free throw line. The foul is on Wertman.
Carrick DeHart spotted an opening in the San Jose defense. I thought he was thinking dunk, and then the defense came over and it ended up with a hook shot.
Let's see what DeHart has done tonight. 8 points. Carrick DeHart has been in double figures 62 times in his 78 games here at Santa Barbara. That's number 9. If he can make this free throw, it'll be 63 out of 79. Well, that is a sign of true consistency. Another change. Charlie Hill comes in for Jerry Pim's team.
Even though he has not shot well from the field, he's continued to be a good free throw shooter.
63-42, and DeHart now has 10 points, breaking into double figures again. Tom Desiano for San Jose State. 21-point lead for the Gauchos of UCSB. Chris McGee
picked up his pivot.
Desiano misses. DeHart, it gets knocked down. Desiano for 3. And it's rebounded by Eric MacArthur. Charlie Hill, long lead pass to Gary Gray. Beats down to DeHart. A whirling derby shot by Akins doesn't come close. And it's out of bounds to San Jose State. 63-42. Ben Howland and Jerry Pim, the UCSB Board of Strategy, will get a timeout with 3 minutes and 43 seconds left. Santa Barbara all the way over San Jose State tonight from the Campus Event Center on the UCSB campus.
The 1989 Toyota Camry. Comfort. Room. Toyota quality. One more thing for 89. Camry has room with a great view.
My Toyota, I love it.
On a clear day, you can see Mount Shasta 100 miles away. Sure makes everything else look mighty small. Kind of like Great Western Bank, big and strong. You see, nowadays, the Great Western family of companies stands for over $32 billion in assets and the security of federal insurance. They've been keeping folks' money safe for 100 years now, so you know Great Western's going to be there for a long time to come. For sheer size and strength, it sure stands out.
Gauchos are perfect at home, and they will be after this game is concluded. 9-0 for UC Santa Barbara this season, 7-4 on the road. McGee hooks it up, no, and it'll be out of bounds. And the Gauchos will bring it up. This building has really been good to Pim's team. 21-3 here in the last 2 years, 33-5 in the last 3 seasons, including the victory they're about to get here. We're down to the final 3.5 minutes at 63-42. That's an excellent home court record. Charlie Hill is open, so he takes the shot. Rebounded by Greg Marshall.
You look at successful teams, and they win at home.
Fred Workman for San Jose State. Off the hands of Kojak. MacArthur is there for Santa Barbara. Charlie Hill. Akins. MacArthur juggles. Knocked away from him by Kojak, and Desiano takes it off for San Jose State. McGee shot, yes, Chris McGee breaks into the scoring column. 63-44, his first basket in the game.
He's waited 7 years for that.
That's right. Indeed he has. MacArthur fouled by Kojak. So MacArthur will go to the free throw line, and he's had a big game. His best game ever was 25 points against Cal State Fullerton, and he's got 20 points as he goes to the line right now. He also has rebounded extremely well for UC Santa Barbara. Good line on MacArthur.
20 points, 11 rebounds. He's had a big night.
64-44 with 2.5 minutes to play.
Well, you know, one of the things that been at the line for 14 free throws today.
And that was a problem for MacArthur last season. Not so much this year. He's up there close to that 70% mark at the line. 65-44, Santa Barbara. Workman forgot the ball, and then he said, hey, I got to have the ball, and he's finally scored. Workman, 65-46.
He discovered he was in big man's territory there, but he still managed to get it in.
Mike Elliott for Santa Barbara. Bounce pass underneath to Gray, and Gray is stripped to the ball. Marshall for San Jose State to Desiano. Marshall out to Desiano for 3. Gray. Charlie Hill. There's the alley-oop to MacArthur. Perfectly executed.
Beautiful pass, and he just guided it into the basket.
MacArthur is just one shy of his career high. MacArthur with 24 points, his all-time best, 25 against Fullerton. That was last year. 1 minute and 26 seconds remaining. 67-46. Mike Walden remind you of Thursday night's telecast. Here on Prime Ticket, it will be UOP and UC Irvine. We'll get a chance to see Billy Mulligan and the Anteaters. And coming up right after this, or a few minutes after this game is over, Ann Myers and Chris Marlowe will have UOP and UCSB in women's basketball live on the Prime Ticket Network.
Well, we've had 2 great games. Here comes the manager.
That's right. He started out as the team manager, George Metcalf, a 6'4" freshman. He was the student manager in charge of balls and paper and what have you that a student manager does. And now he is playing on the varsity. He's one of the boys.
A dream come true.
Follow up by Akins. Fighting for that ball for San Jose State is Doug Hendrickson. He's a pitcher on the baseball team. And San Jose State has a record of 10-0 in baseball. That's the best start ever in the history of baseball for San Jose State. So the Spartans do have some positive things going in athletics.
There's no question, and I'm sure that they're ready to get on with it.
John Westbell returns for Santa Barbara, and going out is Eric MacArthur. That may be all for MacArthur. Even though he is 1 point shy of tying his career high, I think we've seen the last of Eric MacArthur tonight. Eric MacArthur with 24 points, sitting right next to head coach Jerry Pym. Hendrickson, the baseball pitcher, misses the free throw. It's 67-46. John Westbell. Over to Akins, and he is fouled by Doug Hendrickson. Hendrickson's probably said, I'd give you a fastball and get that by you, but I got called for a personal in this game. At the free throw line will be Akins. A-I-K-E-N-S, Tony Akins. Looks like he could play football, too, at 6'6" and 215.
Yeah, he is so strong, you don't think that he's 6'6". He looks more 6'3", doesn't he? But he has such a big, strong body. Look at Gray.
Gary Gray tipping that one in. 69-46 for the Gauchos. We're down to the final minute.
Gray's a very steady, consistent basketball player.
Desiano. Hendrickson is fouled. So Hendrickson will have a chance to go to the free throw line.
Number 20, Charlie Hill.
Hill committed the foul, and Bill Berry in his 10th season at San Jose State. What a nightmare this has been for him. And what another great season for Jerry Pym. After tonight, the Gauchos are going to be 16-4 overall.
Well, Jerry had to go through some awfully bad seasons here until he got the program straightened around, and when he did, they've really taken off.
69-47. Pym in his 6th year here at Santa Barbara, after 9 years as the head coach at the University of Utah. Gauchos won over 20 games last year, and they could get 20 again this season.
Well, and with only 4 losses, they could very well be in position for an NCAA at large berth, even if they didn't win the tournament.
And remember, Santa Barbara has won 2 games against Pac-10 teams on the Pac-10 team's home court at Oregon and at Arizona State. Akins misses on the follow-up. Hendrickson battling as he battles on the mound on the baseball team, giving it off over to Fred Workman. We're down to the final 25 seconds. Workman to the right. He'll take the shot, rejected by Westbell. Here comes Aiken. Aiken doesn't get it. Aiken tries again, still doesn't get it, and he's fouled by the student manager, George Metcalf.
He's really frustrated.
We have 15 seconds left, 69-47 in favor of Santa Barbara as the Gauchos got off to an early 7-1 lead. It was 33-18 at the half, and now it's 69-47. Tony Akins, who had 2 years at Cal State Dominguez Hills, at the line. Akins appearing in his 10th game. He's now 4 out of 12 at the line for the season. Hey, he made one. Tony Akins. 70-47. Desiano goes for that 12-footer. And it's good. Tom Desiano, 70-49. Desiano has 8 points. And the buzzer mercifully sounds, ending this game. Santa Barbara's glad to have it over with, and I'm sure San Jose State is as well. As a result, the Gauchos are now 16-4 overall and 7-4 in the Big West Conference. And the Gauchos in their 3-game losing streak. For San Jose State, the sad tale, 1-12 in last place in the league. And the Spartans have lost 11 in a row, an overall mark now of 5-17. Final score here, Santa Barbara 70 and San Jose State 49 as MacArthur celebrates.
Gretzky all alone in front.
shoots. He scores!
Attention fans, the Southern California Mitsubishi Motors dealers proudly announce the On the Road with the Kings contest. You could win a new Mitsubishi Mighty Max 4x4 truck, courtesy of your Southern California Mitsubishi Motors dealers. You'll also join the Los Angeles Kings on a road trip when they battle the New Jersey Devils and New York Rangers in late February. You'll fly round trip to New York, courtesy of today's TWA. Find out how good they are to New York and stay at the beautiful...
The three leaders for the Gauchos. And San Jose State was led by Craig McPherson with 15 points, although 4 San Jose State players fouled out. And it was Santa Barbara all the way, winning 70-49 comfortably over San Jose State. Well, guess who has joined us now here at the end of this game? One of the all-time great basketball players in Santa Barbara history, Brian Shaw, now a proud member of the Boston Celtics in the NBA. Wayne Williams, he's only a freshman. He has been picked as the Big West Conference Player of the Week.
Colonians grow to present their face to the current, perpendicular to the flowing water.
Sea fans are important members of the reef building community. Although not technically reef builders, the sea fan spicules may contribute to the sand or be cemented in the reef structure itself. They also provide hiding places for fish like these snappers and grunts.
Crinoids or other creatures also like to use the flexible sea fan as a convenient place to filter feed.
So the next time you're diving where the purple, red, green, and brown colors of the sea fan splatter the reef like a watercolor rainbow, take the time to examine our logo close up and learn more about the graceful dancer of planet Ocean.
Lynn, I think maybe my favorite diving is when I'm drifting aimlessly along one of those great walls on Grand Cayman or now Little Cayman.
But you know, Jimmy, our featured destination in this issue, that little place out in the western Pacific, has such big walls that it gives a new meaning to the term. You know how sometimes in the middle of the winter you just need to get away, far away? I close up the house in Denver and head for San Francisco to meet Jimmy and take off for the South Seas, to the magic of Micronesia and the enchanted islands of Palau.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you aboard Continental's Flight 893 en route to San Francisco in just a few minutes.
Continental Flight 3 for Honolulu and Guam to the final boarding stations. Thank you.
This time I'd like to board all passengers going on Continental's Flight 3 to Guam.
First Honolulu, then Guam, finally Koror in Palau. It's a big pond we're hopping over. Now, I like the idea of going diving in Micronesia, but it's really a lot of trouble to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't understand something about our 17-hour flight. How come we leave on Friday, we fly for 17 hours, and somehow it takes 2 days to get there?
That's because we left really, really late on Friday. No, it's the international dateline, man. It's really
I know it's the international dateline, but what does that mean? I don't seem to understand it.
Well, see, there's only so much time to go around. And with the Earth moving as fast as it is, it all gets piled up against this dateline. And so there's lots of hours. And once you cross over, like it's springtime on one side and Thursday on the other. It's obvious, I think.
Go back to sleep, Jimmy.
For our featured destination, we traveled halfway around the world to Micronesia in the equatorial Pacific.
To bring you the rock islands and underwater splendor of the new Republic of Palau.
A place like no other island dream. We jump overboard and into the water as soon as we're able, and right away I can see we're in a brand new ocean.
Maybe that's because there are 600 species of coral in the Pacific compared to only 48 in the Caribbean. The corals, like most other forms of life in the Pacific, had their origin in the fertile seas of Southeast Asia, so the number actually declines as you move east. There are 3 times as many varieties of coral in Micronesia as the ones we saw in Hawaii.
The diversity, virginity, and lushness here is endlessly amazing. We swim past elegant profiles of table corals, velvety soft corals like sea fans and whips, and a veritable vegetable garden of broccoli and lettuce-type corals.
And there seem to be colors here that I've never encountered underwater before.
The variety of other marine life is also profuse. I see my first Moorish idols, colorful butterflies, more anemones than I've ever seen before, bright clownfish, schools of tangs, strange boxfish. Goatfish, and several kinds of starfish.
Curious about this especially strange sea star, I asked a Palauan dive guide to tell me its name. According to him, it's a starfish. Pressing him further, I find that even in the Palauan tongue, there's only one word, tu, for every type of sea star. In fact, it's the same word for the stars in the sky. I guess when you have the creatures, who needs the words?
The Republic of Palau is actually a collection of islands sheltered by a barrier reef that creates a wide lagoon. The islands present some of the most varied physical environments in the world, with the scattered rock islands made of limestone, the largest island where the airport is located, Babeldaoop, with its volcanic interior, and coral atolls.
The population centers and hotels are located in the Central Island Group. The dive sites are found in the surrounding barrier reef, and the best ones seem to be to the south, about an hour's boat ride away.
We're staying at the southern end of Arakabasong, linked to the island of Koror by a long bridge. Our hideaway is a jewel-perfect resort called the Palau Pacific.
Built on the site of a former Japanese seaplane base, it has a man-made beach, a large swimming pool, tennis courts, and 100 luxurious air-conditioned rooms. Food here is unforgettable because of its freshness and unique presentation. Sashimi and other Japanese and Pacific specialties highlight bountiful buffets in the open-air restaurant almost every night. And before dinner, you could take a sunset cruise.
The other large, full-service hotel in Palau is the Hotel Nico, built on a hillside on the island of Koror. It features a picture postcard view of the Rock Islands. There are several other small hotels in Koror, and guest houses or rooms to rent throughout the other islands.
One of the advantages of the Palau Pacific is that it sits right on the water with its own dock. It also has its own dive operation, but other dive operators like Fish and Fins and the Palau Dive Center will pick you up right there, too. We're diving with Francis Tabrinon, owner of Fish and Fins, and one of Palau's pioneer divers.
Hi, Francis. It's beautiful here in Palau today. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect in our dive?
Well, you know, the wall is started at 5 feet of water. And sometimes when the tide goes down, you can stand on top of the wall and jump into the water. And the life is right there. I mean, so the divers can have their own way of diving. Some people like to go deep diving, they can do deep diving. People like to do a shallow dive, they can have a shallow dive.
Francis, how did you get interested in diving? How did you first get started?
Oh, scuba diving can go back a long way in my life. I was a little kid and I watched the Navy divers out here in this island. And I felt like, man, that's going to be my life. I want to be doing something interesting. But I've been diving since 1967.
Francis, can you tell us a little bit about your dive operation at Fish and Fins?
Okay, right now I have about 6 boats and 3 big boats and 3 small boats. When I talk about small boats, they can take 2 to 4 to 5 divers. The big boat can take 6 to 10 divers. So that means we can have a lot of people going diving but different places. At the same time, each boat have 2 people on board. One a captain and one is a diving guide. So people can have their own personal diving guide.
We've dived the big wall at Grand Cayman and the 3-fathom wall on Little Cayman, but I understand we're in for a big treat here in the Palauan waters.
The local name is called Ngamalis Wall, and we tend to call it the big drop-off because it's a great wall. It started at 5 feet of water and vertical drop down to about 3,000 feet, yes.
Free falling down a Palawan wall is like jumping out of an airplane or hang gliding or some other fantasy of flight-fulfilling pastime. But outcroppings of encrusting coral, sea fans, bushes of soft coral, and clouds of reef fish connect me securely to planet Ocean.
Along the wall, our lights reveal nooks and crannies filled with gemstone colors like the inside of a geode. Sometimes I enjoy just hanging motionless above the abyss and surveying the colorful mix of creatures along the wall. In Palau, I encountered my first blue hole. It's a curious formation. A hole in the top of the reef with walls that start in about 4 feet of water and plunge down to 60 feet. Each wall that we dive in Palau is dramatic. Blue run, big drop-off, and short drop-off. All are worth making a part of your Palauan dive itinerary. During my wall dives, I'm constantly lured back to the tops of the reefs. The shallow water allows the riot of colors in the coral and fish and clams to be bathed in brilliant sunlight. This makes it a great place to snorkel or to blow off nitrogen at the end of a dive. Although the boat ride to where the best dive sites are is long and bone-jarring, the trip through the mushroom-shaped islands is beautiful. These verdant islands bubble up to form a string of beads draped sensuously on the Pacific's bodice. They're formed when limestone is cut away at sea level by shellfish known as chitons, which feed on algae growing on the limestone surface. The Sapphire Lagoon flows through arches and caves backed by thick jungle, fronted by secluded beaches. Some of the islands are actually available for rental from the tourist office. You can have your own island for a vacation. Sometimes the passage is so narrow it resembles a jungle river, more like the Amazon in the Pacific.
The ride back also affords the opportunity to view some island history, like this Japanese wreck from World War II. In 1944, a bitter air battle was fought over the islands as the Americans sought a base from which to launch their attack on the Philippines. Some of the resulting wrecks are now prime dive sites.
There's a good 14 wrecks, diveable wrecks out here, but the number goes to about 36 wrecks in Palau.
The climate includes some rain almost every day, with February to April the driest months and July to October the southwest monsoon season. Temperatures are generally in the high 70s and low 80s.
The original inhabitants of Palau can trace their lineage back to 1,000 years BC. But Spanish and German colonists controlled Palau in the 19th century, and the Japanese seized Micronesia from the Germans in 1914.
An American trust territory since the war, Palau voted for independence in 1979. But a compact solidifying that independence has been stalled in Congress because of the addition by the Palauans of a nuclear-free provision.
This diverse history is reflected in the culture of the island today. These dancers perform in the traditional style, with their music being less singing than choral speaking. The subject matter of the dances ranges from the traditional to the modern. This dance is about a Palauan woman who ran off in the arms of a German officer.
I'd like some, thank you.
Well, as hard as it's going to be to stay off the reefs today, I want to stay dry and see some of the culture of Palau.
Sounds good to me. I really want to go into the village of Koror. It's supposed to be really picturesque.
Yeah, also, I want to see the Mariculture Center. They're growing big giant clams and turtles there, and that might be interesting.
Great. I also want to go down into the museum. I hear you can watch them carve storyboards outside there, outside the jail.
I'd really like to see some outrigger canoes and maybe the men's meeting house, too.
A walk through a lush rainforest of trees and flowers leads us to the Abai, the traditional men's meeting house.
Well, this carving, kind of showing men at work here. The fish pattern is repeated, the sharks and the fish in the place of prominence.
Is it okay if we go in?
Yes, I think so. Who's going to know? All the Palauan spirits, but my goodness gracious, this is great. There's a fire pit in the middle of the room that I guess was for light and a feeling of comfort. And here we've got shelves that I'm told were a place to put their mats on when they weren't in use.
Did they stay here all night, you think?
I suppose maybe they had all-night ceremonies.
Look at this. It looks like they didn't use nails. It's all lashed together here, you can see.
With vines, huh?
Vines, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Lynn, I think most of these beam carvings tell a legend or a story.
Later, we visit the storyboard carvers who cluster around the museum. The Japanese brought the storyboard form to the traditional island carvers during the 1930s. The Republic now boasts many expert carvers.
Driving back through Koror, the rich culture and history of the island contrasts sharply with her modern rush hour. But the biggest heritage of Palau is its people, especially the children who are still friendly and open to visitors.
On our way back to Arakabasong, we stopped to visit the Mariculture Center. The center studies endangered marine life such as turtles, leopard sharks, and giant tridactylid clams.
And as I understand it, the different colors in the clams are due to the different algae that inhabit the mantle of the clams. And the clams stay open in the sunlight like this because it's to allow the algae to photosynthesize, and it actually produces its own food.
There are spots in the midst of the rock islands where you can find these giant clams.
One of nature's wonders, the colossal clam is the largest of all bivalve mollusks. These giants weigh as much as 200 pounds and can grow to a length exceeding 36 inches. They've inhabited tropical seas for 200 million years. The dive here is less than 20 feet because they exist in shallow water where sunlight can penetrate the surface.
Yeah, the clams are fascinating, Lynn, but one thing I came here for is the sharks. They've been teasing at the fringes of our senses on almost every dive. But now, Francis takes us to the blue corner.
The interesting thing about the blue corner is the excitement comes when the tide is coming in the morning. The wall is vertically dropped down to about 3,000 feet. The ocean current comes right hit the wall and push up. So I think they bring a lot of planktons and a lot of other things that we don't see with naked eyes. It's a chain reaction. The small fish comes in, the big fish comes up, and then the bigger fish comes on, and the sharks are feeding the rest.
At the corner, the sun's climbing and strong currents are running. We drop down the endless vertical wall in a blue-gray vortex of open ocean currents swirling with schools of tangs, jack, and barracuda.
Suddenly, from the gloom below, they emerge. Dull shapes, sharpening into form and circling all around us. The sharks we came to find. White-tip reef sharks like these generally hunt at night. During the day, they usually sleep under overhangs unless the feeding opportunities are good like today, when we find them active on the reef.
These gray sharks are part of the largest family of sharks, the requiems. Growing up to 7 feet in length, the grays circle us slowly. They have survived 250 million years in savage seas by being the ultimate cautious predator.
Generally, a single gray in clear water isn't dangerous to a diver and will back down like a barking dog. But a group like this can be prodded into a frenzy if there's bait or spearfishing. Most reefs aren't good hunting grounds for these sharks because of the reef fish's habit of staying close to shelter.
So that makes Blue Corner unusual because it attracts the sharks this close to the reef. Generally, gray sharks prowl in open water or far down the drop-off in the eerie half-light of the deep reef. Today, we don't see the sharks feeding, but merely serving as hosts for the remoras that clean parasites from their skin.
Jimmy, I think the thing that's so special to me about Palau is that it's just as glorious above the surface as it is below the water.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lynn. From the teardrop-shaped rock islands all the way down through the Emerald Sea to the seemingly infinite variety of coral and fish and colors, my eyes have been dazzled the whole time I've been here.
Well, you know what's dazzled me? It's been the number of pelagics that we've seen here. It seems like every time we jump in the water, there's sharks. And you were in that huge school yesterday.
I've never seen anything like it. Nor have I ever seen an island where the people seem as pleased and proud of their culture and heritage as the Palauans do. Although they go off island to study, they choose to come back here and live.
Well, I'm going to choose to come back here, and we think it'd be a great choice for your diving visit also.
For our equipment review this time, we thought we'd take you right to the source.
To DEMA, the Diving Equipment Manufacturers Association Trade Show.
We can get our first look at some of the new products available to us in the year to come.
The Las Vegas Strip, that carnival of bright lights and glitter, is a long way from the colorful reefs of Palau. So what are the top names in diving doing here, far from any ocean, if not to see Sammy Davis? The answer, DEMA, the dive industry's trade show. There's also a lot of light and color inside the Las Vegas Convention Center, as the diving equipment manufacturers are showing us what's new for 1987. Let's go take a look. Color coordination. It occupies a center ring at DEMA 87. I guess it makes diving seem friendlier when each diver can be identified by his or her colored accessories, but it doesn't really add anything to diving safety, comfort, or utility. However, color is where a lot of manufacturers seem to be putting their primary design and promotional efforts this year. Masks, snorkels, fins, mouthpieces, even dry suits and digital dive consoles. Nothing seems to have escaped the artist's brush. Several companies have colored tanks to match your BC. Catalina Cylinders offers multicolored specimens in sizes from 7 to 80 cubic feet. You can even have your own yellow submarine. This one from Sea Scout, you can cruise along the surface, dive below with its full ballasting system. It'll move you underwater at 6 miles an hour. Some of the biggies in diving, like Sherwood, Decor, Oceanic, Tecna, and Tabata, have taken to the color theme in a big way, with bold new colors not only on their masks, but matching mask, snorkel, and fin combos. It's not all fluff, however. In many cases, the new colored materials do perform better than the old basic black. Masks don't crack and fins float. For instance, Tecna guarantees their new Spectra fin against chipping. Seafans photographer Scott Ogle can hardly wait to get a pair in bright red. I'm looking forward to trying out a pair of these Bouchot power fins marketed by Sherwood. If you're planning on acquiring new colored gear, though, remember that colors don't look the same underwater. Those bright red fins might look brown at 100 feet, Scott. U.S. Divers is making some of the technology from Jacques Cousteau's Rediscovery of the World voyage available to sport divers this year. The Advanced Breathing System, or ABS, features a streamlined, low-profile case, vented to be self-draining. Inside, there are 3 aluminum cylinders connected by a forged one-piece manifold. It's rated to hold 90 cubic feet of air at 3,000 psi, and is supposed to have about the same buoyancy as a conventional aluminum 80 tank. Buoyancy compensators continue to appear with new features. This one from Ziegel has some standard ones like a cummerbund waist belt, quick-release shoulder mechanism, but it's also got an integrated weight system, eliminates the discomfort of separate weight belt. In case you ever need to drop your weights, you just pull on the red ripcord. They're gone. One of the new propulsion vehicles that's going to be available this year is from Mana. This is their surface unit. It has a dive flag, twin props. They also have 2 other models available with variable speeds and up to 82 pounds of thrust. A lot of attention continues to be focused on dive computers, devices designed to make dive planning simpler. By continually monitoring time and depth, they provide an electronic readout of remaining safe, no decompression dive time. This year, there'll be several new models joining Orca's Edge in your dealer's showcase.
Meet the Skinny Dipper. It's Orca's newest generation dive computer from the same people that brought you the now famous Edge. The Skinny Dipper is an easily affordable, low-priced, inexpensive diving computer with new breakthroughs in microelectronics, together with proven Edge performance and reliability. It shares the same time-tested program as that of the Edge, and it does not merely read a set of tables, but continuously calculates the nitrogen levels of all 12 body tissues.
This is a new Computac decompression computer for divers. It's unusual in that it contains a new U.S. Navy multi-level dive tables that give you credit for coming shallow towards the end of your dive and allows you to gain as much as 5 times in bottom time. Importantly, all the information is pictographically presented. As you can see, as you consume your air, the tank level drops. So as long as your tank is not empty and the little man is not full, you can safely continue your dive. All other information is presented in a color-coded fashion that give you progressively increasing levels of information according to your desire.
The U.S. Divers DataScan 2 system is a fully computerized gauge that gives you all the information you'll need to plan your dive. It gives you a reading of what your current cylinder pressure is, the depth that you're at, the maximum dive depth that you've reached on your dive, and it also helps you to, it gives you an indication of how much air time you have remaining. It indicates air consumption, and also the remaining time for a no decompression dive. This is a no decompression meter that helps you to plan on the surface. It also helps you to plan your next dives for a no decompression limit. This data scan 2 will be available about mid-June at your local Aqualung dealer.
This is Oceanic USA's digital no decompression and air consumption computer, the DataMaster 2. It gives you dive planning data and your dive time remaining, letting you know how much time you can spend underwater during the dive. It's now available at your local dive store.
Sounds like they could revolutionize sport diving and the use of dive tables, don't they? We want to take a closer look. Sea-Fans will be doing an in-depth analysis of these computers in an upcoming issue.
So that's some of what's new for 1987. We're looking forward to testing this equipment, lots of other pieces of equipment for you in the water in the coming year. This is John Evans for Sea-Fans.
In addition to taking a look at some new equipment for this year, we at Sea-Fans have also taken a look at a whole new way to go diving, with an amphibian airplane.
This one's a Cessna 207, a strange-looking turbocharged single-engine plane with special floats attached underneath. The floats have retractable landing gear so the plane can land or take off on the ground or on water.
I flew in the amphibian from Florida down to an out-of-the-way spot in the Bahamas to meet up with Jimmy and try some airborne diving. Our pilot and dive master is Mort Mason, who operates his flying dive service out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
Plane looks great. Isn't it a beauty?
It's real handy being able to pop our gear right from the car and into the airplane, and then be on our way. The turbocharged Cessna can carry 4 divers and their gear and doesn't need a whole lot of runway.
Mort's a veteran of 20 years flying in the Alaskan backcountry, where there are a lot more lakes than runways, so he spent a lot of time piloting amphibians. He's also been a scuba instructor for years, so putting together diving with flying was a natural thing for him when he moved to Florida recently.
From the air, we're able to survey the tops of the reefs and pick out a particularly attractive spot to dive. All we need is the calm of a lee shore to settle down right above our dive spot.
The amphibian floats serve as our dive platform. They have compartments that hold tanks, and they provide space to assemble our gear.
I found it a little easier to don my tank in the water than on the narrow float. We're quickly in the water, and while Mort stands watch above, we descend.
Below, we find a fairly typical Northern Caribbean type reef, but we do encounter an hypnotic interlude with pulsating jellyfish. Eventually, breaking out of our trance, we surface, and Mort's right there to assist us back onto the float.
Then comes one of the biggest thrills of the trip, taking off. Although I'm pretty sure a takeoff from water is possible, because after all, why else would Mort have these floats on his plane? The time it takes the little plane to get up enough speed and lift up on one float and shake itself finally free of the Caribbean is much longer than I expect. An island that marks the end of our aquatic runway seems to have gotten much too close. And just in time, the water releases its grasp and we lift off over the beach.
Skimming back at low altitude along the reef, which you have to maintain if you fly right after you dive to avoid decompression problems, I'm delighted to have found a whole new, handy way of dropping in on planet Ocean.
And now the adventure continues with walls of a different kind.
We dive back into history on the man-made walls of the coral-encrusted wrecks of Truck Lagoon. Over 40 years ago, Japanese seamen walked these decks. Now, they're patrolled by Barracuda. Over 40 years ago, this ammunition supplied Japanese weapons stationed in Truck Lagoon. Now, although still live and potentially dangerous, the ammo sits at the bottom of the sea. Over 40 years ago, this bomber lifted off a runway on the island of Aten during Operation Hailstone. Now, its wings are weighted with coral and sponges.
In 1944, Truck Lagoon was the headquarters for major fleets of the Japanese Imperial Navy. Fortified and secure behind a barrier reef, Truck was regarded as the Gibraltar of the Pacific. Then, shortly before sunrise on February 17, 1944, the U.S. Navy launched Operation Hailstone. More than 72 Hellcats and 18 Dauntless dive bombers tangled with scores of Japanese Zeros. The fighting raged through the next day, but in the end, the U.S. forces paralyzed Truk.
Although an American reconnaissance of Truk earlier in February had alerted the fleet that an attack was planned, many support vessels remained in the lagoon because the Japanese simply couldn't get them out fast enough. More than 50 ships were sunk and all airfields were destroyed, along with 90% of the island installations.
At the end of the attack, a total of 200,000 tons of ships, cargo, and planes, and over 1,000 men had been sacrificed to the bottom of Truk Lagoon. The wrecks became both memorials and tombs for those who died here. On Truk Lagoon, the Hellcats and Zeros and guns are silent now, but below the surface, the sunken ships and airplanes have created a world of eerie beauty. There, the only sound is the divers' bubbles.
Today, Truk offers divers a singular opportunity. The man-made remains of the violence and destruction of war have mutated into new forms during the 40 years of ocean peace. The resulting shapes have a terrifying beauty. Nowhere else in planet ocean are there so many wrecks in such close proximity, with such clear water, now covered with such astonishing marine growth.
And these wrecks are loaded with all the equipment necessary for ocean transport of that time. A rare treat for divers used to settling for stripped-down wrecks with portholes and insides pilfered by scavengers.
Located 600 miles southeast of Guam, Truk Lagoon covers 823 square miles and is almost 40 miles across at its widest point. Encircled by one of the largest and longest barrier reefs in the world, the lagoon holds a cluster of islands, actually half-submerged mountains, as well as a captive fleet of World War II hulks. Most of the diveable wrecks surround the island of Dublin and fill the channel between Dublin and Pfeffin, while the dive operators embark from Moen. Boat rides to the wrecks generally take 20 to 40 minutes.
Don't travel to Truk if you're a diver who craves nightlife or other surface excitement and amenities. The island of Moen, the commercial center, is dry, although since liquor is allowed on the outer islands of Truk, you can find it on Moen at bootleg prices. But the views from the hills on top of the island are worth climbing up to see, and there are some rides you can take through the jungle to explore World War II relics. In Moen itself, the frontier-like harbor is a mix of colorful dresses, loungers, wandering goats, and maritime activity. Adventure travelers can board the island field ship here for extended trips to the outer islands to see Micronesia as it was. The port also hosts an open-air market where fresh coconut offers a refreshing drink. It's a good place to catch a taxi.
And all the taxis here, of course, are trucks. The only full-service hotel here, the Truk Continental, sits on the southern tip of the island of Moen. The hotel provides a picturesque setting, but the facilities are a little time-worn, so don't expect luxury accommodations or gourmet food. Another option for diving Truk is the Thorafin, a large live-aboard dive boat that carries divers to the wrecks and small outboards. The experienced local dive operators like Clark Graham of Micronesia Aquatics or Kimio Isaac of Blue Lagoon pick up divers at the Hotel Continental Pier and take them to Truk's main attractions, underwater.
Our first dive on Truk is the Sankasan Maru, whose masts and king posts extend almost to the surface. The name means mountain dragon, And as we descend, the ship seems to reveal itself in the water with a spooky ambience, as if the lettered decks could well be the entrance to a dragon's lair. Yet when we're on the deck, it's surprisingly well lit, with easy access to the holds that still contain trucks, airplane engines, and boxes of ammunition and warhead detonators.
The Saki-san was built as a transport and stretches 365 feet, weighing 4,770 tons. The ship rests in 100 feet of water, and it's 50 feet to the deck. Most of the boat is a mass of destruction. Only the 3 forward holds, the mast, and the king post remain intact.
Underwater, the masts and king posts rise like huge lighthouse towers, thriving with a variety of encrusted hard and soft corals. On the long deck, fish swim peacefully through the wreckage of tires and rusty metal, Moorish idols, butterflies, a barracuda with a cleaner fish, and black mask yellowfish. Coral clusters in a tire like a planter, and box oysters cling to the bowmast.
Danger lies in the forward hold, with cases of small caliber machine gun ammunition and boxes of warhead detonators. In this wreck, as in all of the truck wrecks, be careful what you touch. Some of this ammunition is live and could be considered dangerous. Always ask your guide if it's safe to handle it.
The second hold contains 4 badly deteriorated trucks, radial airplane engines and cowlings, tin cans, and even beer bottles. 6 more trucks rest on the deck adjacent to the first hold.
Twin-engine Betty bomber sits a bit tilted on the bottom, amidst coral rubble that would be all there is to Truck Lagoon if it weren't for the man-made reefs. It's an entertaining dive with a working hatch now encrusted with coral like a reef. The medium bomber has an 82-foot wingspan and a 65-foot length. It rests in 65 feet of water. Built by Mitsubishi, it had a 265 mile-per-hour speed and a maximum range of 3,700 miles.
The Betty bomber was apparently shot down during takeoff, since she lies just off the runway in good condition. John Evans, our producer, and Annie Ibbotson enter the bomber from the tail and pop out the hatch. There's also an opening through the plexiglass window near the center of the fuselage. The cockpit area took the crash intact. The engines were ripped off during the crash and are strewn 200 feet away from the plane. Stingray, one of our dive guides, springs out from behind the Betty bomber with one of the small cannons scattered near the plane.
Be aware that the lagoon has been designated an undersea monument. By law, all artifacts are protected from souvenir hunters.
Before taking us out on his boat one day, Clark Graham of Micronesia Aquatics pauses to tell us about the island. Clark, how did you originally come to Truck Lagoon?
Well, originally I came in 1966 with the Peace Corps, and my job was teaching English in the schools here. I actually started diving in 1973.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about your own operation with Micronesia Aquatics?
Okay, our standard boat is the 22-foot fiberglass boat called an Islander, and we take up to 6 people on that boat. We normally go out and make 2 dives a day, leaving at 9 o'clock. We always have a dive guide who will dive with you. His job is to show you the wrecks, help maximize your underwater time. He's there to assist you. We have 2 Islander boats. We also have a 26-foot fiberglass boat with a glass bottom, and we have access to larger boats should larger groups be interested in coming.
Clark also says the rainy season is from June through September, and the calmest time of the year. You can usually reach all the wrecks during these months. But increased plankton can reduce the visibility to around 50 feet. From October to May, northeast trade winds increase, sweeping the wrecks clear of plankton.
During this period, visibility may exceed 100 feet, averaging 60 to 80. But the trades can build to 40 knots, making the water so rough that, as we found, some wrecks, like the Shinkoku, are unprotected and unreachable. I know that you've been diving all over the Pacific. What to you is special about Truck Lagoon?
Okay, well, certainly the fact that these ships were part of World War II, the history, the historical aspects of these ships make it unique. Also, the realization that there will probably never be another Truck Lagoon, another area, another war where ships will be sunk in this situation. The ships are finite. Someday these ships, with the growth and with time and with deterioration, we don't know when that will be, but sometime they will deteriorate and they will be gone. And it's the finiteness and the opportunity to experience something at its best. About 1972, several articles appeared about Truck Lagoon, and at that time the legislature declared it an underwater monument museum. So prior to any large groups or even a few individuals getting here, the wrecks were protected by law, and it was illegal to remove anything, which was very good. Shortly thereafter then, about 75, 76 is when we started to see more and more tourist divers coming to the area. So really, Truck as a destination is relatively new.
Our favorite dive-in truck is the Fujikawa Maru. The ship is a sunken cathedral. The foremast forms a silhouetted cross, a marker for this ghostly graveyard.
And the king post explodes with a colorful maze of gorgonians, soft corals, and sponges as tiny fish crowd the mast in a halo. Along the side and bow, the awesome size of the vessel reveals itself, a phantom. A man-made wall gnarled with coral and sponges leads to the anchor line, still intact, but wildly decorated with soft coral and sea fans. The ship has been conquered by the relentless march of sea life.
Named after the Fuji River, this armed cargo aircraft ferry is one of the largest in the lagoon, weighing in at 6,938 tons and measuring 434 feet. The ship rests upright. The dive is 50 feet to the bow and 120 to the bottom.
At 110 feet, there's a large hole where a torpedo struck. The boat is so huge and filled with artifacts that it's well worth more than one dive. But it sits in unprotected waters south of Dublin. Rough weather and currents can make it less accessible and more difficult to dive than many of the wrecks.
On this dive, we decide to head past the bow gun toward hold number 2. Our target is one of the zeros at 90 feet. We drop down into the shadowy hold, and I'm excited to find one that still has some controls intact. Lynn gives me the honors, and so I jump in to see how it feels. Remarkably, the stick is still operable. I'm amazed at how tiny and unprotected the cockpit feels.
Back on top, we still have some time to explore the soft coral gardens that fill the corridors and passageways. The tall examples of the soft coral Dendronephtha are the largest we've seen. And in fact, scientists studying the corals on these grand metal reefs have noted that they're growing faster and larger than anywhere else in the world.
Ironically, the name of this vessel, Haiyan, means peace. For some strange reason, this turned out to be our least favorite dive. Resting on her port side, she was disorienting, visibility was poor, and the coral growth was slim. Originally a passenger ship, she was converted to a submarine tender. The name still boldly proclaims its purpose on the starboard side of the bow, in both English and hiragana.
The Haiyan sits at 50 feet to the bow and 110 to the bottom. She weighs a massive 11,620 tons and is 510 feet long. Two large four-bladed propellers rest at 90 and 100 feet. A variety of china dishes lie next to the 8 periscopes in a companionway. The superstructure is huge and filled with a bewildering maze of corridors and rooms that lead into the center of the ship.
The ship is curtained with green algae known as halamida. As in all the truck wrecks, these plants drape the ship's masts, sprout from the ladders, adorn the guns, lace the beams, and grow in abundance on the decks. Scientists have discovered more than 100 species of green, red, and brown algae in these wrecks, including 15 previously unknown in Micronesia.
The dive guides on truck lead what they call limited penetration dives, which means that they only enter areas with at least 2 exits and adequate available light. Just swimming along the corridor is disorienting enough. We can understand why the guides generally discourage deep penetration. One afternoon, we dive into the light of the Dainahaino. The name means circle of the sun, and its meaning survives for us with the sunlight streaming through the Grecian columns of this overgrown garden. Wild-growing soft corals cling to the lattice of the superstructure that now looks like a gentle gazebo. It's a marked contrast to the Haiyan.
This armed cargo vessel was built by the Nakamura Steamship Company to weigh 3,220 tons and spread 190 feet. The bow is at a shallow 6 feet underwater, and it's only 60 feet to the stern propeller. It lies upright, facing northeast. Locals call it the gunboat. There are a number of artifacts in the forward hold, including pots and pans, shoes, a radio telephone, and some enameled dishware.
The boom leads to the bow gun that waits only 3 feet from the surface. Large windows frame the forward hold. The bosun's quarters is well lit and still intact, with more sunlight streaming through columns. But beyond the forward hold, her hull is torn apart and the stern is a mass of mangled, unrecognizable wreckage.
Yet the wreck is a study in marine biology with a never-ending variety of corals, including white coral with long feathery polyps, brain corals, bubble corals, broccoli, cat corals, and table corals. Tiny blue chromis hide for protection from larger fish, as well as our camera in the branching hard corals. So, Truck sits, the peaceful lagoon that became crossroads of Pacific commerce and history, the most populated of the Federated States of Micronesia. And yet, underwater, the march and swirl of commerce and history has been stopped, with only the ocean's inexorable processes at work now. leaving diving's most alluring and awe-inspiring time capsule, the man-made walls of Truck Lagoon. Well, Lynn, I guess that about wraps it up. I sure had a lot of fun putting this issue together, although some of it was just a little bit off the wall.
Jimmy, your jokes are getting worse.
Yeah, but the destinations are improving with each issue. We're going to come back next time to Micronesia again, to this lovely island called Ponape.
In between now and then, if you have suggestions about places you'd like to see us go diving or new features for sea fans, we'd love to hear from you.
So until then, I'm Jimmy Ibbotson.
And this is Lynn Isaguirre.
Bidding you a Ponapean farewell. Kasaleli! Kasaleli!
Have a chance to do some things.
You think the Bay Area can support two teams? You're a native.
I believe we can. You know, Anaheim and the Dodgers are two teams in the same area. I believe we can.
All right, Dave, keep it rolling. I know they kept you off the All-Star team, but you're making somebody wince now with this great performance in the second half.
I'm just going at them.
All right, that's all it takes. Dave Stewart, red hot here for the A's. He's 13-7. The A's go against the Angels tonight. They're still two back of Minnesota in the American West.
Okay, Gary Redditch, of course, at the Coliseum Live. Giants fans have to hope for some good starting pitching the next couple of nights down in Los Angeles. Last night's 12-inning loss to the Dodgers forced Roger Craig to use 4 relief pitchers for 2 or more innings. Now, Atlee Hammaker is the scheduled starter in that ball game. Earlier today, Cubs against the Montreal Expos. Andre Dawson, you park a key base hit right here off Andy McGaffigan. That falls in, made it 4-3 Cubs. Ryan Sandberg came on in. Rick Sutcliffe won his 15th game. He's the first National League guy to do it, but and of course you just saw that Dave Stewart has 13. He's the 3rd winningest pitcher in the majors this year. 49ers camp continues up in Rockland. Pete Liebengood is there, and today his focus is on 2 established veterans, both of whom futures really are in doubt.
Based on his performance over 10 years with Dallas, Tony Hill must be considered the top candidate to take Dwight Clark's job. He may have lost a step through the years, but not his confidence.
I play football for my bread and meat. When I don't catch, I don't eat, and I like to eat. So I plan on catching everything they guys throw to me.
To the casual observer, when they see a veteran change teams, I think people wonder, well, I wonder if he still got it. You still got it?
Oh, have you been out here? Well, I need that to answer then.
Meantime, Dwight Clark continues with the agonizingly slow process of trying to rehab his surgically repaired knee and get on with what could be his last year in football. This is the extent of Clark's participation in camp. He wants to be ready by the season opener. He doesn't know if he'll make it.
I ran this morning, and it was killing me. And just 2 minutes later, I go and run just a simple pat-and-go drill, and it felt great. It didn't hurt one single bit. I go to the pool, and it doesn't hurt. So, you know, it's kind of an up-and-down thing.
Until Bill Walsh suggested to Clark that he consider retirement, Dwight was leaning in that direction.
As soon as somebody told me that